I almost admire your perseverance, Tyson. You and I could have been a great team.
You'll never put your hands on my research. This ends today. You need to fight back! Sonya is controlling you!
No, old friend. She freed me.
Okay guys, we did it. Now it's time to break into the Telosium generator room.
Telosium, huh? The powerful and unstable energy we need.
I must say, seems like a trap.
Not just seems. Definitely is.
And we're going in like this?
Of course. We need energy.
And I'm not in the mood to recharge in an outlet.
Well done. Was easier than we thought.
Every time you open your mouth, something bad happens.
Ouch. That hurt. And remember, this mouth is ours. Do you know who the cowboy is?
Not a clue.
In any case, we agree that he deserves our best treatment, right?
My friend, we'll have to agree. You gave us the best gift of all!
The scent of uncertainty in the air. I love it! Let's go! We relish making decisions. We delight in making our opinions count! And now that I'm in control, this game is in our hands. So, it's your call.
From the rooftops, from the ceilings, or a frontline rushing. Follow close, I'm feeling lethal. You better take cover, make no mistake. I'm rising to the top, cause I'm moving my way. In line for or the edge of a blade.
My past has been a mystery, and I didn't want to know, so I didn't ask. I have always had a happy life with my mom and stepdad. But things changed after they got divorced. I still miss him. I don't remember how it all started, why I first ran, or what kept me going. But I remembered the wind blowing in my face, the adrenaline rushing through my veins, and everything just got better. Something in me has awakened. I am not sure whether I control it or it controls me, but it feels right.
For years, we brought justice to our city. We made mistakes, fought amongst ourselves. Many of us fell along the way.
I almost admire your perseverance, Tyson. You and I could have been a great team.
You'll never put your hands on my research. This ends today. You need to fight back! Sonya is controlling you!
No, old friend. She freed me.
Okay guys, we did it. Now it's time to break into the Telosium generator room.
Telosium, huh? The powerful and unstable energy we need.
I must say, seems like a trap.
Not just seems. Definitely is.
And we're going in like this?
Of course. We need energy.
And I'm not in the mood to recharge in an outlet.
Well done. Was easier than we thought.
Every time you open your mouth, something bad happens.
Ouch. That hurt. Remember, this mouth is ours. Do you know who the cowboy is?
Not a clue.
In any case, we agree that he deserves our best treatment, right?
My friend, we'll have to agree. You gave us the best gift of all!
The scent of uncertainty in the air. I love it! Let's go! We relish making decisions. We delight in making our opinions count! And now that I'm in control, this game is in our hands. So, it's your call.
From the rooftops, from the ceilings, or a frontline rusher. Follow close, I'm feeling lethal. You better take cover. Make no mistake, I'm rising to the top, cause I'm moving my way. In line for or the edge of a blade. I'm calling all the shots, la da da. In the world.
My past has been a mystery, and I didn't want to know, so I didn't ask. I have always had a happy life with my mom and stepdad. But things changed after they got divorced. I still miss him. I don't remember how it all started, why I first ran, or what kept me going. But I remembered the wind blowing in my face, the adrenaline rushing through my veins, and everything just got better. Something in me has awakened. I am not sure whether I control it or it controls me, but it feels right.
For years, we brought justice to our city. We made mistakes, fought amongst ourselves. Many of us fell along the way.
I almost admire your perseverance, Tyson. You and I could have been a great team.
You'll never put your hands on my research. This ends today. You need to fight back! Sonya is controlling you!
No, old friend. She freed me.
Okay guys, we did it. Now it's time to break into the Telosium generator room.
Telosium, huh? The powerful and unstable energy we need.
I must say, seems like a trap.
Not just seems. Definitely is.
And we're going in like this?
Of course. We need energy.
And I'm not in the mood to recharge in an outlet.
Well done. Was easier than we thought.
Every time you open your mouth, something bad happens.
Ouch. That hurt. And remember, this mouth is ours. Do you know who the cowboy is?
Not a clue.
In any case, we agree that he deserves our best treatment, right?
My friend, we'll have to agree. You gave us the best gift of all!
The scent of uncertainty in the air. I love it! Let's go! We relish making decisions. We delight in making our opinions count! And now that I'm in control, this game is in our hands. So, it's your call.
From the rooftops, from the ceilings, or a frontline rusher. Far close, I'm feeling lethal. You better take cover. Make no mistake, I'm rising to the top, cause I'm leading my way. I'm line for or the edge of a blade. I'm calling all the shots, la da da. In the world.
and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is a Free Fire USA Championship 2025. Down to 18 teams we go as the knockout stages begins today. And after 2 days, we will weed out more from the crop to see who will end up at the top, because the top 12 will be heading into the grand finals. Back at the desk, I am Neptune the Gentleman Garcia, joined by my brother, the Mustachio AJ.
Weeding them out of the crop, and that's exactly how we get this done, right? Out of 24, now the top 18, but the grand finals only has space for the top 12 teams, Neptune, and we do not have a marathon. This is a sprint for sure. A total of 12 games to determine the top 12 teams who will be able to play in the grand finals next week. We've got today and tomorrow, same time, same place. Last week, we've seen a little bit from the teams already. But of course, we are looking forward to seeing exactly how well they pair up against each other. We've got a little bit of a grouping. We've got 3 groups in here. Each group has got 6 teams. We'll show them to you guys in a little bit. But obviously, we are looking forward to seeing some of the underdogs based on last week's performance to really step it up this time around.
Exactly. I mean, speaking of underdogs, those teams that were praying very hard, now we take kick off from the group stage, are in here, and they have to prove themselves to be able to get to the top 12. Yeah. And this is what I'm looking forward to as well, the knockout stage, because everyone would be grouped in together. We'll see a little bit more of change, unless they don't want to change their tactics, and they can dominate this game, because we've seen from the previous week, especially in group stages, we have T-Rex, we have some of the teams that have been popping off, and I'm loving how they worked it out. I mean, this is where we see how they played against each group, because from the second week of the group stages, it was something different. Less chances for elimination, but some really took advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we did have some questions in terms of the active-passive skills combinations from some of these teams. And now we've got a little bit more of a shake-up based on the meta here, right? So I'm curious to see exactly who's going to be on the right track today. But let's take a look at the prize pool and see exactly what we're playing for. $30,000 US on the table here, Neptune. And the biggest slice of this pie, 10K USD for the champions.
Yeah, I mean, a third of that just for the champions, and the rest will just have to deal with what is left. But speaking of what is left, we also have the knockout stage and the grand finals, which is left, and the group stages has been scratched out from that board. Now, 2 days of knockout stage, 2 days of rotation in terms of 3 groups that we will be seeing in a bit before we get into that grand finals. This makes everything a little bit more exciting.
Absolutely. And you know, like I said, right, it's no longer a marathon, it's a sprint. We've got 2 days in here, but each team only gets to play 4 games per day. And these are the groups that we were talking about, and who's in Group A. And of course, when that Group A combination goes up against either B or C, they got to watch out for the raging dinosaurs that were sleeping. Okay, they were hibernating on day 1 of play. And on day 2 of play, they ripped away every single booyah possible. Can we see the same out of T-Rex gaming today as well? I will truly be shell-shocked if we do manage to see anything similar to that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's seldom that we see a team really perform that well in a stage wherein it's been a while since everyone has seen the tournament. So this is where probably T-Rex was taking advantage of, just laying down, hibernating for the first day, and then popping off for the second. But now, this is the knockout rules, or the format that we have. We have 18 teams grouped into 3, or set into 3 groups, and they will be playing 12 games for the next 2 days, including today. So the rotation in terms of groupings would be as it is: A and B, A and C, and B and C for 2 matches per day.
Yeah. Each group will play a total of 8 games for today, for tomorrow, before we kind of get this down to a point where only the top 12 champions will be able to proceed on to the grand finals that we have coming up for you guys next week, right? So even the previous stage, right, to qualify for the group stage has been phenomenal. So I don't know what sort of action we can anticipate from today, but the grand finals is definitely going to be absolutely fantastic. And unlike what you saw the past 2 weeks, where you only have 4 games a day, Here we've got a total of 6. We start things off today at next Terra, on to Kalahari for Game 2, Bermuda Solara for Games 3 and 4, Purgatory and Alpine to complete this list, Neptune.
And don't think that by tomorrow it'll be the same order, because we're going to mix it up again for tomorrow. This is not giving any advantage in terms of maps for any group. So this is just a full-on randomness on the order of this map. And again, I'm loving that we have all 6 maps available, especially Solara has been introduced, and we can spread it across the board all throughout a day of battle. But I'm looking forward to who's going to perform. Would it be a team like T-Rex that we've seen getting 4 on the board, or would it be other teams that has put up so much in terms of not only the Booyah, but also in terms of elimination? Because Booyah gives you 12, and it goes down to 9 as you go in second, and it still goes down by 1 point up until the 10th place. But unfortunately, 11 and 12 will get nothing. So you have to stack up on elimination.
Every single elimination gets you 1 point, and we have seen teams rage on, right? I mean, 29 eliminations in one game, no problem at all, bro. But maybe here at the group stages where we've weeded out some of the lower performing teams, maybe it gets a little bit harder. Maybe when you've got 2 Titans in there at the same time, ripping away those points becomes a little bit more difficult. But of course, I would love to believe that it's a little bit more difficult. If the teams out there today show us something different, there will be no happier man in this world than me. Of course, last week we did talk a lot about teams like T-Rex Gaming, but we also have to look at teams like RNKTZ. You have Ricario Central as well. And, CLG at the end of the day managed to show us that they can top the charts as well, but not with those Booyahs, right? And those Booyahs are going to be absolutely essential. You see, it's not just about the 12 points that we see here in our point system, because when we get to our grand finals, Neptune, if you are not capable of pulling those Booyahs, you are not going to be crowned champion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen that being pulled off not only from the previous weeks, but also in other regions wherein that Booyah is very much the essence of that champion rush condition. So that is one thing that will give them the championship, despite of not getting that much point. As long as you hit that activation of that champion rush, then it's just the Booyah that matters at that point. So let's see if that is something that will be tried and tested by the teams for today and tomorrow before they get into the grand finals.
And of course, let's take a look at the giveaway rules as well. Yes, we continue with the giveaway spree. Only the first 100 players can redeem the items. Only 1 item per player, so you cannot spam the same code multiple times. It's absolutely useless. And each item is only available during these broadcasts. You will not be able to purchase these items in-game. So please stay tuned. We will be dropping these codes all throughout the broadcast today, all the way down to the very end then.
Yeah, and make sure that you head over to reward.ff.garena.com to redeem the exclusive code and cherish what Garena has to offer for today. Not just today, it would be for tomorrow as well. We have plenty of codes to give away. We just don't have the specific timing. So all you have to do is watch us from start to finish. And I'm pretty sure a lot of fans out there has been waiting for those moments overall.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still do see some comments asking, like, when do we get to see the code? You'll see the code when we show you the code, okay? We'll definitely show you the code for sure, so don't worry about it at all. We're still waiting for game number 1 to kick off. It's going to be a fairly long day in comparison to the past 2 weeks. Once again, we've got 2 extra games to go. I'm just very curious to see if or not, just like last week, we see teams ramp up on day 2 as opposed to day 1. But I would love to give them a very, very kind warning. If you snooze, you most definitely will lose, because it is not just about picking up some points on that second day, because you don't know which other Titan is out there looking for those big points as well. There's been a little bit of a shift in the meta as far as the active skills are concerned. So if you slack, if you don't go out there and really practice up against these other teams, you are going to be on the losing end. But here's one point as well that perhaps could be very, very relevant for today, Neptune. Those drop spots. Last week, we saw uncountable number of hot drops. Many teams got eliminated way too early. So based on that, if they have done their homework, they should be able to find some clearance for themselves today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, finding out where they were dropping off from the last week or the previous week, that when we were looking at Group A on the group stages, you'll get a clear picture on who to avoid in terms of early engagement and also who to target if you really want to stack up on elimination. So there might be some adjustment, but at least a little bit preparation would help. It's also that drop not fully going in a full squad. A 3-1 split will do. There's a lot. Some maps will be like riddled with a lot of revive platforms, but also with the vending machine. So that is one thing that you need to focus. Those simple things that matters when it comes to bringing back your teammate in terms of survivability. This is one thing that teams really need to study.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I believe for game number 1, we may just be missing out on a team called Abandonados. They haven't joined the lobby just yet. I'm worried they might miss the flight in before we head on into game number 1. But of course, team lineup for the upcoming match, it's Group A versus Group B. And I see a very, very big name. In fact, I see 2 big names up there. The chart toppers for both of the groups last week. We see CLG as well as T-Rex Gaming, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, T-Rex Gaming, the team that has put 4 on the board, and we'll see if they'll be able to do it with the 4 games that they'll be playing for today. Again, this is just for the first 2 matches. We'll be seeing A and B stuck up with each other. Later on, it's going to change. But another team that I'm looking forward to is also 5 stars, FBS. And let's see if they'll be able to bring in their tactics from the previous week up into the knockout stage.
And we start things off at Nexterra. That's going to be game number 1 once again for you guys. A total of 6 maps, but not from the exact same groups like you saw earlier on. It's a round robin, so we will be switching those groups in as we head on into these matches. But getting into game number 1 and starting off with a really high momentum has got to put you in a good place. But of course, that's if you can get to that final circle and nail not necessarily the booyah, but a decent number of eliminations for yourself. And that's something that Nexterra definitely offers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hopefully they will be able to use the number of compounds that we have in this area. As you can see, it is across the board. Not really so much of open spaces, but as we look in to our flight path is coming in from the north to the south, and compared to what we've seen last week, a lot of teams has been dropping in a little bit early. So I guess they have anticipated that they need to start those drop, but I think there will be a hot drop happening right here in the northern part as well as on the right side. So it's CLG against FBS as well as Dark Hunters against CDG.
I don't know exactly how FBS is going to pull this off, because it was the team of CLG that had the drop a little bit clumped up together here. CLG with Drakusit in a close quarters combat, but all thanks to that electrotherapy pumping up Charlie. Maybe they stand a good chance, but the 2 teams have managed to find a decent split in this compound with a 50-50% of domination to pick up the loot. And this is going to be the most important point here, Neptune. Who gets to find a little bit of cover? Who gets to find those loots first? And I think both teams are doing very, very well in terms of avoiding each other. But CLG, as they step on away, they will come across Phantom. Question is Phantom ready for a little bit of a challenge here?
Yeah, I mean, the ghost right now would be giving us a boo, but probably not the booyah just yet. So let's see if that is one thing that Phantom will be able to pull up. And Charlie right now going in for the shots, exposing himself, and even with the Coda, he will not be able to get away that easily. But I guess a little bit of damage will help them get those information in through for the rest of the team. Let's see.
As Shades of Clash squad right here in a 4v4 between CLG and Phantom. Meliodas tries to back away, but Capo dropped from afar. Beautiful headshot. Charlie trying to get another one for himself. M5, 90, and finds the pump perfect. Dev's shut down as well. Phantom not doing great up against CLG at all.
Definitely. I mean, let's see if they'll be able to get back on track. On the other side, we have On Style going in for recovery spree, and Dave will be taken down. So we have still 11 teams because Abandonados didn't join this first map. Out below, Daz will try to get away in a vehicle. Shots from Charles with XM8, and he managed to go and pull off a hiding spot in this. But there goes RGS gameplay. It is Charlie all the way with 2 of those eliminations.
Yeah, that RGS getting the final nail, or should I say grenade, in the coffin here. 10 more teams left. Once again, Abandonados did not manage to join this lobby, so unfortunate for them. They walk away with nothing out of this first game. But T-Rex Gaming, the ones that ripped everybody apart, now dropping between 2 teams. The Real G as well as Team Fighters, but Fighters do not want to fight. So Jam! Beautiful shots from Darius, but no finisher just yet. Bolakan finds his way to the MP40, and the execution instantaneous. Real G has an option to back away now. And they're most definitely going to take that option to get out of the sticky situation. Jojam down on the ground. Bolakan on for the chase. The electrotherapy by Russo X pumping him up. And the deep freeze doesn't find the tag just yet. But Darius trying to look for something. Jojam, a sliver of health. And Darius just so deadly. Flicks around. XM8 gets the knockdown. And it looks like this is just game over for Team RG.
I love how T-Rex is showing up a little bit too early right now, and there's no waiting. Joe Jam might be turning to Toe Jam at this point, and he does. On the 10th spot, they will be eliminated. T-Rex with 6 on the board already. This is what we have been waiting for since the first week.
Absolutely, man. And I expected them to be on a slow ramp up once again, but it looks like they most definitely listened to our conversation. And they're like, all right, we shouldn't wait till day 2. No problem, Mustachio. No problem, Neptune. Let's get it on. 6 eliminations already. We're just 4 minutes in, and only 1 team has ripped away quite a number of lives out there. Team Fighters, on the other hand, understandable why they didn't want to have that fight earlier on, and the right decision made. Because taking on a 3v4 up against T-Rex would have been super deadly, not for T-Rex.
Definitely. I mean, if you are going against a Predator, and that is what you need to expect. But CLG going in for a revival spree at this point. So we have 9 teams remaining, 35 survivors at this point. And in a few, we're going to see where the next phase of the circle is going to bring us. But I guess everyone is now on a chill mode right now. They will be waiting for next phase to show up, so they don't have to go for engagement. But compared to the other teams, T-Rex is just moving along all across the board, not really heading directly into the center of our map, but just in a place where they might be an edge later on.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge for the squads to get into the circle when you have got it guarded by teams like DH as well as CDG. But the bigger question is, are we going to be able to see a little bit more action from Team Smoke? Last week, they showed us a little bit of what they can do out there, but no booyahs to their name whatsoever. A mid-card team at best from their week of play. But here in the group stages, we are expecting a little bit more from them because a lot of safe plays from Smoke we saw, but we also saw a lot of potential out of the squad, Neptune.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Smoke is just bringing in a lot of not only smoke, but also fire from when the first time we saw them, and that's when T-Rex was not showing up. So, because looking at the board, when we look at Nextera, rather, this is one of the map that was introduced in the first days of the group stages. So this is where T-Rex was not showing up. So it's just like puts our data out of the window right now because we really couldn't tell how everyone is going to turn up unless they are clumped up to each other. And speaking of which, they will be on the next phase of the circle, and a lot of teams will need to move a little bit faster, and they might meet up, especially for Smoke, CDG, and Dark Hunters.
Yeah, the patch in June kind of increased the overall duration of that first circle, but the circles a little bit later on will close in extremely fast. And as you can see, a lot of travel distance here between circle 1 and 2. So these teams who are not finding themselves in a decent spot need to kind of hustle on. Dark Hunters waiting to spot out CDG and maybe catch them with their pants down. Question is, do they have the right guns here? They just scout them out and instantaneously back away. UAV sent out by the Dark Hunters. CDG, seeing that, takes the UAV out of the skies and cannot even pull a long rotation off here. But thankfully, the Dark Hunters are not staying to play. They back away and CDG has room to rotate.
Yeah, I mean, they are rotating right now onto the edge, but as you did mention, it will be a long travel for this team, so they need to be quick. Vehicle, yes, they can use it. They will be faster, but it will give off that sound cue, and they might be targeted as well. But for Smoke right now, out of blue, trying to tank it, trying to hit down on CLG, and it is 5-star who's going against CLG right now. That is winning it.
Yeah, absolutely. And CLG, Rakusita needs to save the rest of his team members here. Question is, will Jonas Wick allow him to? Answer is an instant no from the 5-star squad. 4 eliminations in hand. CLG falls victim to the squad. And we now have 8 more left in here. I did not expect such a blazing lobby here at the opener of our group stage, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially for those coming in from Group A, I guess they will have the first 4 games to themselves. So I guess they're already stacking up. And if they make a mistake, it doesn't matter at all because they have plenty of chances later on. So they're just giving it all at this moment. But Team Fighters is receiving it all, especially from player JK of T-Rex.
What will T-Rex do? 9 eliminations already. It looks like they're looking to dominate this lobby as well. Unbelievable stuff once again from the Raging Dinosaurs, looking to rip everybody apart. 28 players, 24 opponents to meet out there. And I think T-Rex wants to make a record for... Team Fighters are not going to be in a good condition here if they come across T-Rex. Already down in numbers here. Ooh. And Gaju just brought back into the play, and JK out of nowhere. RNKTZ, the next victims.
Ditzy right now will be taken down. Pickup has been done, but Ruzo will need to be picked up. 3 players right now from T-Rex might need to back away because a lot of shots coming in, not only from CDG, but also the ones from behind, which is Smoke. So they need to be careful on the edge of the circle. They are, and they need to head into boxing gym, similar to what we're seeing on Style. Pretty safe, but CDG might be flying in onto them. So that is a battle that we are going to see later on. T-Rex continues this on as Darius is back in play, and even with that, Silent will be silenced at this point.
I mean, beautiful plays coming on through, but Bolakan could not get away. As Itzy out of nowhere pulls off a fantastic M590 play. Darius for the save. Could not pick up Bolakan just yet. Attack from the back. Bolakan, Darius, both a successful play eliminates the players of T-Rex Gaming, and it is RNKTZ of all teams to get that done. They could not dominate the lobby when T-Rex Gaming were in their week of play, but at least this time they managed to catch them with their pants down. It took 3 teams in total to wipe T-Rex out of this lobby. That's insane.
Oh, definitely. I mean, T-Rex is a great hunter and a great fighter at this point. With RNKTZ managed to win it, and they're still alive though. 3 points to their name, a full squad. But for El Salvador, will try to go in for the shots, but no takedown just yet. Eric right now from 5-star trying to get away, and Jonas Wick will try to fire back. But 5-star without Kenny haven't recovered, and Rekha the Wrecker will be taken down as well. So on Style, the team that has been quiet all throughout, is bringing 5-star that challenge.
Oh, and Jonas Wick takes advantage and goes in for the wipe. 5 stars with the brilliant decision making here, but one more survivor left for the side of On Style, and he is not waiting to see exactly what 5 stars is made of, as he makes that instantaneous exit. Question is, how will 5 stars play the recovery here? They desperately need X-Wrecker out there in order to wreck the other squads.
Yeah, that's one thing, though. I mean, we still have that boxing gym vending machine that they can work with, but Blex right now a little bit too quick, going in for recovery before taking them the rest of the teams out. So Dark Hunters, Perverse right now, stuck in the glue wall, was able to recover, but MP40 in hand against the Thompson. I guess the MP40 will win.
Yeah, absolutely. And on style, you gotta respect the decision making here out of Blex. But the job has been done before he gets sprayed down to the ground with the maneuver to make sure his opponent goes for that recovery play on that medkit and then the revival on the rest of his squad. That's exactly what's beautiful about this. And the team that gets brought back in drops right on his head and gets that instantaneous revenge for taking Blex out. And Blex should be revived in a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, great decision, quick decision coming from Lex that made them win that fight. El Salvador has tried his best to survive, but against Smoke, there's no punching a Smoke at this point that will receive all those damage. So let's see if Smoke can bring back the 2 players that they have, because they are losing in real estate, especially in the 4th, going to the 5th phase.
You could try punching Smoke, but you'd just look dumb.
We've seen Luffy done it.
Hey, man, you need some hockey for that, bro. But King, with a lot of pressure here by the blue, almost takes down one right in front of him. But question is, did he pull more attention to himself? Now a little bit too far away from the circle. 105 left on his HP. Coming across on style. Has the Orion. Stays alive. Takes away a little bit of health. But 57 HP. Good glue wall plays as well. In a 1v3. And King finally drops the other King on the other side. Only one King can proceed. And unfortunately, it's the King on the side of on style.
2 kings cannot take 1 throne at this point, and that is what happened. Top 4 teams remaining for map number 1, and we're still seeing RNKTZ, a full squad. Eric right now fighting along, increasing the 7 that they have into the headshot with that VSK against Blex, and Pana might be next. Let's see if they will be able to meet up against each other, but Smoke will be put into his place now with the final 3 teams remain, or make that final 2 teams and end this game.
Just 20 HP, and the super med comes in handy. But in a 1v4, Garrick, no matter how crazy he is on those snipes, there's no way he's going to be able to win this out. Advantage with the circle, but just with the melee, trying to pan his head. The guy's already bald, but they're trying to put a little bit of a bump on that bald head as well. RNKTZ with a phenomenal booyah on this very first game. But I gotta say, those big wreckers got taken out too quick with all of the chaos in the lobby net.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the RNKTZ, I love how they stayed silent at this point, not because Silent is in their team, but because they have tried to get away from most of the engagement. And the toughest battle that they have was against T-Rex, and they won that. And that moment, the moment they won that, it just gave them that motivation to survive a little bit longer, make sure that they have a full squad towards the end. And even if they are not getting as much elimination compared to the other teams, with that booyah alone, they will bring them to the top.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And T-Rex, with their phenomenal play, they kind of pushed the boundaries a little bit too much, right? The last time we saw T-Rex go all out was on that day 2, after they got full-on information of what the lobby was like. But I think they kind of ramped up on that pressure a little bit too early this time around, and the dinosaurs are really powerful. But I don't want to say it, okay? Sometimes when you've got a lot of strength, the brain power is lacking, right? But we saw the brain power come through from T-Rex Gaming on day 2 of their own qualifier in here. But this time, they just showed us pure brawn, not a lot of tactical plays. But of course, even that said, it took 3 teams, and mainly CDG, putting on a lot of that damage before they got wiped out early.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is one thing that we might see a lot more from T-Rex.
Yes.
Just showing up every time, getting a lot of elimination. And, well, we did mention that Booyah is not really an issue or not really something that they need to look forward to, especially in this stage, the knockout stage. But on the grand finals, they need to focus on that. So they've shown us already from the group stages that they can pull it off. Now they just want to stack up and show dominance in terms of points.
Yeah, and they've always shown us that even if they do fall back, they can catch up on day 2 when they really put their hearts and souls into it. And I'm actually a little bit worried for the rest of the teams here because, you know, if T-Rex Gaming kind of ramped up on day 2 and they're already doing this on day 1, y'all gotta be scared, man. MVP of this game is none other than player JK out of T-Rex Gaming that got taken out so early on in the game. But the team got taken down with 10 eliminations in total. And this guy grabbed the MVP, although the team got eliminated. Like, what, the first 3 teams to get eliminated had T-Rex Gaming in there. So this is a phenomenal MVP stat pulled away by player JK.
Exactly. I mean, a sniper overall, and compared to the usual sniper build that we're seeing from the past, does have that Otho and that Susie. So making sure that they have the recovery or the revival later on. And then we also have that like the mist that will slow down the opponent once a knockdown has happened.
Correct.
So that is one thing that we seldomly see from a sniper, but it does work for him. But as we look at the head-to-head, sniper against sniper, it is player JK from T-Rex and 5 stars Eric. Similar in terms of elimination, but in terms of damage, it's just being taken by player JK.
Yeah, JK just got that AWM very, very early on. And I actually like the Otho on player JK, mainly because with that AWM, first of all, he did walk away with decent numbers of eliminations, but he doesn't need to walk away with the elimination in order for that memory mist to kick in. All you need to do is just get a knock, and it slows down the rest of the players. So if they are going up against a team that's clumping up together, this is where the team really, really excels, right? But more on that in a little bit. Head-to-head between RNKTZ as well as 5 stars. Same number of eliminations. Once again, the damage is where we see a huge difference. 5 stars, just kind of clipping everyone all around the battlefield before they grabbed a lot. But of course, they could not grab the Booyah because RNKTZ stepped it up. 1 revival on the side of 5 stars, none on the side of RNKTZ to get to the Booyah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that they really need to work on right now, especially with 5 stars. But in terms of most elimination, T-Rex will still be roaring quite hard. 10 elimination at this point. It could have been more if they survive against RNKTZ, but with the 58 that they have, and it's like almost a 6 that they had right here, it's still good because a 6th of the total elimination against the 12, or make that 11, that we have right now, it still shows that they are the apex predator. We do have 18 rescues, 38,000 in damage, 74 knockdowns, and 65 headshots. So I'm loving the numbers right here, but I guess it will be more later on because they have been warm up.
It looks like they're all warmed up though, right? Insane stuff here. Look at this, T-Rex Gaming, 3 placement points, but they launched themselves up to the 4th place only because of those eliminations, and they got the most eliminations in comparison to everybody else. So once again, a lot of pressure from the dinosaurs, but they kind of clunked out a little bit too early. Yes, we did see multiple teams kind of get a catch on them, but that also shows how careless they were on the approach on this next Terra. Just kind of very aggressive, putting themselves out in the open, allowing those shots to be taken by teams like CDG. You know, RNKTZ kind of got a shot on in there as well. But overall, when it comes to the placement points, this is where you can really climb up. If you get to that final circle and hit that Booyah, you're going to be able to buffer yourself. And RNKTZ shows us exactly that. With a total of 20 points, they are in that #1 spot for now.
Yeah, and well, apart from Phantom with 0 points at this point, we also have Abandonados who wasn't able to join us from that first map. So let's see if they will be joining us in a bit, because that is a missed opportunity. It would be different. It would be difficult right now, especially for Abandonados, is if they are aiming for that top 12 spot. But we've seen how sneaky Abandonados can be. They can go for survivability. They can make it all throughout. And depending on which group they are, they still have time to play it in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Abandonados are not a weak team at all in a lobby alongside a team like Ricari Central, as well as T-Rex Gaming, RNKTZ. They got the 4th spot. So this is a squad that knows how to get it done. They know how to find that Booyah for themselves as well. Not the most lethal squad out there, but they surely know how to find those points at the end of the day. So in the grand scheme of things, missing out one match is not really going to have a huge impact on them. But if they miss 2 games, I'm going to start to get a little bit worried here, Neptune. But of course, we promised you guys something, and we are going to most probably deliver it right now for you. Once again, only the first 100 players can redeem this code. So in 3, 2, 1, I hope you've got your screenshots.
Yeah, definitely. And make sure that you head on over to rewards.ff.garena.com to redeem this exclusive code. And again, it's only 1 item per player, and it is only available during broadcast. So even if that, given that, the first 100 might be able to get that already in the first few minutes, if not the first 1 minute that we have as soon as it has been shown.
I'm pretty sure it's all out already. So you snooze, you lose. You know, that's the story of the day. Like some of the teams out here, Bananados, they snoozed on us on this first game. The T-Rex definitely snoozed on us early on this first game, but they showed us how lethal they are. I wonder exactly how they're going to kind of maneuver their way around in this next map. You're heading on into Kalahari, and oh, this is deadly. Once again, where player JK will excel. You've got a lot of high grounds to play with. You're definitely going to see them go for either the arsenal, the weapons arsenal, or one of these airdrops so that he can rip away an AWM very, very early on. So we need to take a look at those hot spots. Probably even a hot drop into the high tier loot zone, which is available in the competition now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 5-star has been targeting the high tier loot zone, so let's see if they will do it once again. But looking at the data, I know I mentioned about throwing it out a window, but I had to pick it up because RNKTZ is the one topping the board when we group them together when it comes to Kalahari. And well, T-Rex, based on the performance, I know there's a lot of hopes, a lot of potential from them, but it seems like they're showing up pretty much the same in terms of survivability. In terms of elimination, though, they are putting up so much this time around. So let's see if that is something that they will be correcting, or probably it's just the first day that...
Unfortunately, guys, I think we have lost Neptune for 1 second here, but don't worry, we'll get him right back with us. What he was saying was RNKDZ has managed to find a booyah on Kalahari. The other team is Motion Gaming. Thankfully, Motion Gaming is not playing in this next match, so we can expect RNKTZ potentially to go in here for a back-to-back booyah if, of course, they can secure something solid for themselves. Phantom, the team that got eliminated very, very early, in fact, the first team to get eliminated, does very well on Kalahari. The last time we saw them play this map, we saw them really climb up to the top. A total of 26 points pulled away from Kalahari overall shows consistency out of Team Phantom, and that's exactly what we want to focus in on in this game number 2. Whether or not they do walk away with something solid for themselves or they drop the ball, it is all for them to say. In this match, as we have a flight path cutting through Mammoth all the way down to Council Hall, we've got the full map open. But if you want to go for the high tier loot zone at Oldhampton, there's going to be a little bit of traveling here for you, Nep. When he comes back, he'll answer that. As 5 stars, we'll see on style early on here. The maze caught on by Flash. CDG, everybody avoiding each other. But unfortunately, Team Smoke will have a little bit of an early encounter. RNKTZ towards Santa Catarina. And Neptune, I think Team Smoke's about to smoke quite a number of players out here on style with the split drop. Have not put themselves in a good little spot.
Let's see, though, if they can put themselves in a good spot later on. But Smoke right now, 1 elimination, and had a good chance to take down on style at this point. So not quite sure if the focus would be on recovering, because as what I'm looking at for Mix Loco, a pickup or a revival can be done, but it will be against Yokis being eliminated. So crazy right now, going crazy. XM8, and there goes, takes down. The King needs to be taken down, but the reversal has been done.
Yeah, crazy didn't see the second player there, but Max Loco will be here for a little bit of a backup on for the spray down and the instantaneous pickup. And because there was a split play, OnStyle is at the losing end. There was a 4v3 that obviously did not favor OnStyle at all. But thanks to the fact that they dropped Flash far away, he can play the recovery for the squad. But a surprising play out of Flash was the fact that he did not drop anywhere that has a vending machine. So he's going to be on the hunt for some extra coins for quite a little bit before we see them back in action.
Yeah, it's tough though. I mean, being alone, nowhere to go, you know how it is, but you need to recover. So just go away, leave out all the engagement, and just get back a little bit stronger if he can survive longer. Phantom, though, one elimination already on them. And looking at the numbers from the past, they are second in place in terms of how they perform in Kalahari. So survivability, they do have it. Elimination-wise, they can bring it on, but they need to deal with Dark Hunters, who I would say is not really a huge threat for the moment.
Yeah, and Phantom, we'll have to catch up with them in a little bit. But Dark Hunters have got Trung here caught in a really tight spot here, Perverse, for the chase. Mark Quinn has got the Trogon. One more shot needed, and a pop will put him down onto the ground. That 2v1 working out really well for the squad. And RNKTZ not looking to get aggressive at all. They have an option here to drop back towards Santa Catarina and play the vending machine here for a quick revival. But surprisingly, they move towards Dark Hunters instead to pressure them away from that revival platform. And as I say that, they do fall back here for that vending machine play. So back into the game, Trung here comes. Question is, will Dark Hunters swoop on in for an instant elimination onto the squad, or do they want to focus on their own survivability here? And it looks like it's going to be the latter for the time being, at least.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the name of the game. Survivability is what they need to focus on. But for Dave, well, they need to be cautious because other than Dark Hunters, there's also RKTZ and 5 stars being taken down by the one and only T-Rex. And, well, that's how they roll. They don't want anyone taking the spotlight at this point.
And player JK, again, is rocking the long-range shots. I believe he got a double elimination for himself up against 5 stars. So 5-star play, not for 5 stars, but the T-Rex squad. Smoke on the other hand, Max Loco eliminated from the equation here. Phantom with Dave a little bit too far away from the rest of his team members. And Dark Hunters are in range to take a shot at him as well. Not if RNKTZ has something to say about it. But Dave potentially might just be the bait here. And Rai not making a mistake, just dropping the glue wall melter there just to get a little bit of the defenses down. And RNKTZ not falling victim to this bait. Dave will not be able to pull them out of their defenses. Very smart retreat here by RNKTZ.
Yeah, I mean, they are smart enough to be able to get this shipwreck as their cover. And Dave right now will be left at a loss. The moment he steps out of that glue wall, he might be targeted by not only RKTZ, but the ones waiting on the other side, if there still is a few. But Abandonados is back in play. And not only are they back in play, they're trying to take down T-Rex.
Absolutely, and I don't know if or not they'll be successful, but we will check them out in a little bit. T-Rex, one player down and out of the equation for the time being. RNKTZ, Itzy with the shots, and it looks like Meliodas just super accurate from afar. And the T-Rex squad is up against yet another squad, this time the Abandonados. And they are trying to abandon this fight. Laligaru up against Bolakan. Bolakan not giving him any space whatsoever. The hook gun cutting the distance. And Bolakan, Woodpecker to the back of Laligaru. M82B pulled out by Laligaru. Gets the first shot. M590 on for the pop. And bye-bye Abandonados, says T-Rex. 8 eliminations in hand so far at the 6-minute mark.
Bolakan made Bolacarne out of Abandonados, made them chop them up and managed to eat them alive. And the Maze would not make T-Rex lost, but it is Smoke who will be at loss right now, specifically 16, 17, 18. Let's add 19 and 20 to that as well, because he goes down in 2.
Oof, this is just exactly what they need. Abandonados on style, 5 stars, 3 teams eliminated. But now Yolkis from the shot from afar will take Bolakarn out of the equation. Team Smoke wants to smoke the dinosaurs early here. And the zone is just going to play that pressure on Team T-Rex. Instantaneous revive. Bolakarn brought right back in because T-Rex has got something called money. Those free fire coins in their pocket. And their buddies right back in here with them. Question is, what's Bolakarn doing? Okay, I thought he was just going to go in 1v4 up against Team Smoke.
A bit too bold, though. But yeah. Probably because of how he managed to take down a few players earlier on. But he's just setting up that drop just to make sure that he still have plenty of real estate in.
Yep, and we have got this real estate to play with for sure. But the circle is going to rip away all of that extra space that T-Rex has got. And Team Smoke just trying to gatekeep them at this point of time, but they also have to worry about their own performance. On towards the next circle, Team Smoke decides to get a move on. And so does T-Rex. Yolkis trying to play his own advantage here with the marksman from afar. We'll catch up with them in a little bit as CDG does not get talent into the circle. Joe Jam with the Groza. Shot from afar. 18 Duck with the SVD strikes as well. They look for the second victim. But it looks like CDG is a little bit too smart with the rotation. With the hook gun, Mao 7 gets away from trouble, at least for the time being. The team RG not waiting on anything at all. The Rail G wants to show them who the real gangsters are on this Kalahari map as they go in here for the hunt. 18 Duck on that high ground, looking for Mao. But CDG just very smartly hiding behind all of that compound. And the natural terrain just giving them the defense that they most definitely need. Not a single resource wasted by CDG as they try to get away and successfully bring talent back in.
Yeah, let's see if talent can be revived at this point. Brought back in. A Phantom right now. 3 points to their name, but still looking for a few more. But they need to regroup at this point. They need to stick together just to make sure they go in for survivability in this game number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see if or not Player JK here can pop his health back up, because they are looking for yet another victim in the name of 16, 17, 18. You can keep on counting all the way down to 19, 20, 21. But player JK about to get yet another elimination in his hands if he spots this guy out. VSK in hand. 16. Oh, the timing here. As 16, 17, 18 tries to back away. Will be spotted. Player JK. First shot in the chest. Riptide Rhythm. Sand! And 16, 17, 18. With that perfect response. JK back up on his feet. And he's looking for revenge.
Oh, let's see if the revenge mission will be fruitful at this point. 16, 17, 18, recovering, throw gun in hand. But it might work for one, but not so much for all. Bolakarn almost down, only a few HP.
Wow.
But in is player JK, the savior of that team.
Yeah, this is the beauty of T-Rex. They've got that perfect Russia sniper combo. And again, 10 eliminations already, topping the charts within this lobby. Question is, will they find that final circle? They find a player from Dark Hunters instead. Maraquin down on the ground. Yet another point for the squad of T-Rex Gaming, and they find a chimney for themselves as well. So this truck is going to get them into that circle. With the reposition, players on the side of T-Rex Gaming don't really need to worry about the damage from the circle for the time being. Panton, on the other hand, just slowly trying to sneak away from the Real G. Had to use a chrono out there as well. That time turner just saving them in the nick of time. And they're heading on straight for that airdrop.
Now let's see if they'll be able to make it, but it would be a risky move because the moment that they go in for the airdrop, it will still be a long way, a long travel for them from Bayfront up to the edge of the next phase. But for Smoke, Uelkes right now will try to go in for the pickup. Only one will be revived with the 700 that he has right now. And the choice would be 16, 17, 18, despite of the shady decision that this guy has done.
Yeah, absolutely. Team Fighters fighting on the Dark Hunters here, but Dark Hunters will be in a sticky situation up against two teams. Squished in the middle, Maraquin has got no fight whatsoever, but if he stays hidden, he might just pull CLG up against Team Fighters here. But Hack goes in for the shutdown instead. Maraquin down on the ground, and the double Vectors gets the job done here for the side of CLG. The first elimination picked up by them.
Yeah, CLG, well, not really doing so much in terms of elimination in this map as well as the previous, but Rakusita, let's see if he'll be able to manage to get a knock in there, but Smoke will be taken down despite of the recovery on 16, 17, 18. I guess the risky move coming from both guys will give them that time to decide or to make those make those decisions later on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to see if or not these boys can get away from the sticky situation here, because Team Fighters up against CLG, there's not a lot of compound to play with. And it looks like Team Fighters are taking the fight up straight to them, but they have to be careful. RNKTZ from the back. Fighters do have a high ground advantage here as Osway gets eliminated by the circle of all things. Hack with the strike down onto Gaju. Gaju takes down Charlie. Back and forth we go between Fighters and CLG. Neither one winning it out big, but Rakusita from the shot from afar. P90 gets it. Blaze the final player. Looking for one. M82B. But he has to survive long enough to bring the rest of his team members back in here.
Hack right now, unable to go in for the pickup. CDG King, only wall between them, and Hockey on the other side. But 4 Team Fighters, we do have Blaze just waiting it out. The nade not making the shot, but the rest will hit Hack right now and slow him down on the other side. Dark Hunters being eliminated on 7. We are left with 6.
Look at that Orion just take away his life through the glue wall. And what a nade. After 4 grenades tossed in, Talon finally finds the talent within himself to get a decent elimination with that frag grenade. But now T-Rex once again with those risky maneuvers have put themselves in the crosshairs of teams out in the open, using the terrain to their advantage. The dip in that slope there will give them a little bit of cover and some safe space to play with. And a rotation straight behind the players of Phantom, who are split apart. So T-Rex actually can still walk away with the booyah here if they play this rotation correctly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they need to take down Phantom a little bit early, or 3 players from Phantom a little bit early, and then just wait for the rest of the teams like RKTZ as well as CDG in the next phase of the circle. But for Mao and the rest of CDG, they need to deal with, I would say, the potential Booyah takers at this point. And there goes Hockey right now, but Hockey will not be getting that Hockey in, and CDG is falling out despite of 7 elimination that they have. They need to deal with RNKTZ. That is not easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mouse 7 with the Mag 7. Looking for yet another one for himself. Talon with the cord will get the spray down. It's he taken out, and unfortunately for the team, they don't get to survive past RNKTZ, who's going for that back-to-back booyah. But not if T-Rex can say something about that. Phantom, on the other hand, phenomenal recovery after being the first team eliminated in Game 1. Perhaps they can make that surge to the top with a booyah here. Solid on Game 2. 14 eliminations in the hands of T-Rex Gaming, though, will look to prevent them. 2 players down, bleeding out on the ground, and T-Rex instantly terminates them.
Now it's a 2v2 situation after Phantom has been terminated and eliminated and exercised at this point. Now, Rain and Tranghia trying to go for the push, but at the same time, T-Rex is backing away. They have advantage on next phase, or next shift of the circle, but I guess it's just ending it right here, right now.
Yep, you don't have player JK here to hit them from afar. You need to take the CQC, and they have that electrotherapy on the run. Drogon in the hands, though. Can Volakan get this? Answer is absolutely. He still is alive, unfortunately, for the team of RNKTZ. They haven't found the shot, but Tranghia gets the final bullet in, and RNKTZ hits the back-to-back booyah in a phenomenal way to open up our group stage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, RNKTZ showing up day 1 against T-Rex. And, well, this is what they have to offer. A little bit of flex against the top dogs from Group A, RNKTZ. showing up once again a little bit
Oh, yeah.
stronger this time around.
I mean, well, we saw a lot of improvement from many of the teams here, especially T-Rex Gaming as well as Team Phantom. Phantom was the first team to get eliminated in Nextera. So getting to the final circle is a huge boost in terms of adrenaline and confidence for the squad. But T-Rex Gaming, they were confident all throughout, right? Confident in Nextera, even though they got eliminated early. And I think just getting those highlights, the MVPs for player JK, getting the highlight again for the most number of eliminations, just kept that spirit up high, even though they got eliminated early. But it seems like they were still as aggressive in this game number 2. They don't care about getting eliminated early. They're just looking for those elimination points. They're not focused on the booyah at all here, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they just have no regards for their own HP, their own life. They just want to focus on bringing up as much point as possible in terms of elimination. And, well, if what follows would be a booyah, I'm pretty sure they will be grateful. But no, they just want to bring it in. And if I'm not mistaken, they had 17 elimination from this game. And they're getting closer to what they've achieved from the group stage.
RNKTZ has 17 eliminations from 2 games. Okay, they got the 2 booyahs, but they got 17 eliminations from 2 games, and you are telling me T-Rex just got 17 eliminations from this one game? There you go. And this is exactly what makes this team just so deadly out there, right? They know exactly what to focus on. And I think this is just big brain play coming through from the T-Rex squad, because T-Rex Gaming understands something very simple, which is in the group stage, you don't need the booyahs. You just need to be in the top 12. And they are looking to be that number 1 team out of the 12 that qualifies for the grand finals. And the MVP with the back-to-back booyah on the side of RNKTZ. Player JK says that's a joke because I'm the MVP back-to-back, baby. You can keep the booyahs. We will rip away these MVP titles. 8 eliminations from this man this time round. 2 assists, 2,779 on the damage. Weapon of choice, the VSK. And once again, I am in love with the Orthos memory miss in the Skylar's hands. And Skylar just got a buff, all right? The glue walls get taken down a little bit faster now with this extra buff that Skylar has. And that's just going to make player JK so much more deadly out here on the battlefield.
I mean, he is already deadly, but I want to see more coming from player JK. And he will not be kidding at this point. He's not just kidding at this point. He is all business as the sniper for T-Rex Gaming. I guess the entire lot of T-Rex is all business, because when we get into the head-to-head, even the elimination is not showing that much. Player JK against Tranquilla, it is 8-4. The damage, though, is more on Tranquilla, but it's player JK. The flex on the 8 elimination, that's okay, because there's plenty of time that he managed to steal away a lot of those elements.
Yeah, but at this point of time, with that head-to-head, that extra damage from Tranquilla is just an insult, because he couldn't get the eliminations as opposed to player JK. Head-to-head with the eliminations between the 2 squads. Yes, you get the booyah once again, but T-Rex ripping away those points. 19 eliminations as opposed to the 9. And they get it done with just an extra, less than 2,000 damage here, T-Rex. But phenomenal on the eliminations department, which shows how efficient the team of T-Rex Gaming is in all of these engagements. When they are finding you out there, they are walking away with the elimination instead of just playing it soft like RNKTZ, getting those shots in there, getting the damage, but not the elimination. So this is not going to fare well for RNKTZ at the grand finals, but as far as the group stage is concerned, they're absolutely fine. And 2 games in a row, T-Rex Gaming pulls away the MVP title for player JK, as well as the highlight for the most eliminations. This is scary. No booyah, no problem for the dinosaurs.
Yeah, definitely. And this is what the Dinosaurs and T-Rex has to offer. But as we look at the match standings, total of 21 points for RKTZ. And because of that booyah, but the first place will be taken by T-Rex Gaming with that 17 whopping elimination. Compared to what the other team has done, it will seem like they are still the apex predator of this grouping.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Phantom recovering in this game too, but mainly with the placement points, not so much with the eliminations. It gives them 11 points to jump back into the day, at least to wake up a little bit? I don't know. We'll see the overall standings here to see how much that did for them. They jump up into the 10th spot. I guess that's fairly all right. But I mean, you look at CLG, you look at Smoke, they're on the 5th and 6th place with the 18, 19 points. So they're not too far away. Just one game can really change Phantom's overall standings. But you want to look at the distance RNKTZ and T-Rex have taken away from the rest of the teams here. And on top of that, you want to see the difference in rank points between RNKTZ as well as T-Rex. You've got a total of 12 points there, but they are just 2 points away from each other. That's insane.
Oh, definitely. I mean, 2 points away. That's why, like, what T-Rex has been doing would be beneficial for them. But one thing I would say, though, I think RNKTZ is in a different group compared to T-Rex, and we're already done with 2 of our matches. So
yeah,
if this will continue on for T-Rex, this is a chance for them to leave RNKTZ along the way, but they will be back later on. So let's see if there's something that can be broken by T-Rex by the next 2 matches.
You think, Neptune? But, you know, the Motion Gang is back in here. Maybe their motion will put a stop to the rise of T-Rex Gaming, or the dominance of T-Rex Gaming, you want to say. But, of course, RNKTZ will jump back in here to the fray at Purgatory and Alpine a little bit later on, which they most definitely do fairly well on, right? RNKTZ, maybe at Alpine, not the dominators, but when you look at Purgatory, they do fairly well for themselves.
Yeah, let's see now on what else they can do at this point, because this is what you viewers out there, survivors out there, can do to go in to reward.ff.garena.com to be able to redeem what code will be showing up in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Yep. Grab that screenshot for yourself. Once again, only the first 100 players will be able to get the redemption for themselves, and you cannot purchase these items within the game. You can only redeem them from grabbing this code on broadcast. So if you snooze, you lose. Make sure you're not the loser in this way.
Yeah, don't sleep on it, because only the faster fingers will get those loots at this point. So, well, I guess this is the theme or the name of the game right now. No sleeping at this point, because other than we have different time zones, there's also a matter of getting so much in the early parts of the knockout stage so that you can secure the top 12 heading into the grand finals.
Absolutely. And of course, RNKTZ also setting one record before they take a break here for 2 games. They are the only team to secure 2 booyahs on a map. So Kalahari, 2 booyahs belonging to RNKTZ, 1 from today, and of course 1 from their own qualifier week as well. But as they take a break, we get to see if or not T-Rex Gaming gets to run away with this matchup, or whether the change of groupings here will throw their game off a little bit here, Neptune.
Yeah, speaking of break, we are going to go on a quick break. When we return, another set of groups will be introduced with Group A. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, survivors. This is the Free Fire USA Championship 2025, and this is the knockout stage. Day 1, we just saw Group A versus B for 2 matches. Group A now stays in the fray. Group B takes a break for 2 games, and we welcome Group C. My name's AJ. I'm the Mustachio, down here with the one and only Neptune, the gentleman Garcia. We are your casters, not just for the day, but throughout the whole competition. This is exactly how we work things out at the knockout stage, right? The knockout rules, we have got 3 groups in here, 6 teams in each group, Neptune. And like I said, in the next 2 games, we will see groups A versus C.
Exactly. It does say 12 games right here because each team will be going in for rotation. So in the next 2 games, we're going to see Don Chuy, Motion Gang, Rosario Central, TF Esports, Tonyo, as well as X-World into the mix. And this is one thing I'm looking forward to because T-Rex going against Rosario Central once again. Let's see if Rosario Central will have learned a few things from what they've experienced from Group A before.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I'm looking forward to Motion Gang showing us a little bit of their booyah capabilities as well. They are the team that walked away with 3 booyahs as opposed to the total 4 that T-Rex managed to grab for themselves. But of course, Rosario Central in the mix as well will kind of throw things into a little bit of a disarray because these are big, heavy hitters that we've got lined up for us at Bermuda and Solara. And Bermuda is a map that most of the players are comfortable on. So we get a direct comparison between a map where they're confident on and a map that's brand new where most teams have not found that full dominance or mastery on just yet. So we'll get to see exactly who gets to rip away those points. But of course, if we see the Dinosaurs dominate this one as well with the eliminations, then I think we can make a safe prediction for the grand finals already.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see now because OG species on an OG map, this is something that can bring in a lot. They did get a booyah in this map, and not only that, they had a lot, like a lot of points being ripped out against the other team. 17 eliminations with a total of 31 from when they grabbed that booyah. So let's see if they can do it once again. Just to break that record that RNKTZ has, well, it is bound to be broken because RNKTZ will not be playing right now. But if another team will be showing up, like Motion Gang, like Don Chuy, Tonyo, Rosario Central, and X-World, specifically X-World, because we want to see more from that team because they didn't perform quite well from the previous week that they played in the group stage.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, teams that are going to be taking a break now would be CLG, RNKTZ, Abandonados, OnStyle, Phantom, as well as Team Fighters. And we didn't really see a lot of CLG, right? You know, Team Fighters, they kind of showed up a little bit here and there. Not really chart toppers, but they were somewhere high up on the leaderboard. Abandonados, we kind of saw them abandon that first game. They didn't show up at all. Second game, a little bit of points in there, but nothing too much to scream about. So, yeah, overall, we're not going to miss Group B all that too much, right? So we've got heavy hitters, teams like 5 Stars, CDG, T-Rex Gaming, now welcoming other heavy hitters from Group C, which are like Rosario Central, Motion Gang, Don Chuy, like you mentioned. So I think we are going to see a scarcity of points here. And if we do see some sort of domination out of any team in this next lobby, I think that is going to be very, very impressive, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what we're looking forward to. Not only the top dogs just repeating the same thing over and over again, but the other teams are making those adjustments, making an evolution. It's not just the dinosaurs that will evolve. Even the other teams can evolve. And it comes down to survivability, their mechanical skills, as well as the effort that they have pre-game, before the day actually started. Hopefully they did their homework, especially in the drop spot, and then that's where the other factors really comes in. And also going in with the meta, because we did mention that on the June update, there is a lot of changes, and we haven't seen most of those changes being put up in play. So they're just going for a comfort pick in terms of active and passive skills.
I don't know if or not that's gonna fare well for them on some of the other competitions in the future. But here's the thing. We are not looking at a qualifier into any other competition. We're not looking into a seeding of any other competition at this point of time. It's just the domination within North America. And, you know, if if that's going to be the case, then whatever works, right? As long as, whatever they're trying out there, even as crazy as it seems with this active-passive skills combination, if it works for them, then why not? Because clearly for player JK, bringing in that Otho into his sniper build seems to be working perfectly for the squad. I have not seen him complaining. In fact, he's hitting those high numbers game after game.
Exactly. I mean, that's one thing. You just make those active skills and passive skills based on your play style, and that is what working. That is what is working for player JK. But for the rest, hopefully they don't confuse how they play in a Clash Squad and against Battle Royale, because it's quite different. If you go for a team versus team, yes, the Clash Squad meta will work. But once you go in, introduce that third-party factor, the rotation factor, the survivability that you need to do on Battle Royale, then that's where everything changes. So a little bit of things that we are going in to remind the teams out here, the players out here, but just do their own thing. If they can be comfortable and happy, enjoying how they're playing right now in FFUSC, then so be it. More enjoyment means more chances that they can improve in these games.
Like we mentioned, we now send Group B to the breakout room, and we bring in Group C to the fray. Group A stays to find some sort of dominance out there. Teams like T-Rex Gaming will be very pleased with that because they've built their momentum. They get to keep up their momentum. Teams like Dark Hunters, who are trying to find some sort of a recovery in here with those points, might just be a little bit more challenged, because when we welcome in Group C, we also welcome in a couple of teams that really is solid out there on the battlefield.
Oh, yeah. I mean, disrupting what has been done in the first two match, that is the first goal that Group C has to do. And as well as for some of the teams, I mean, I know Rosario Central will be that risk disruptor at this point, especially with Escolta on the snipe. But for Motion Gang, they can continue on with their survivability gameplay, just dropping in very far from the rest of the teams and then just making their way through as they make all those elimination along the way. But for Don Chui, X-World, TF Esports, and Tonyo, I know there's a lot of promise for these teams, but that has yet to be seen, especially in these groupings that we have right now. And also, we are being brought back to the OG map Bermuda, so everyone knows how to rotate, how to survive in this map that is both a double-edged sword, though. Both advantages and disadvantages for the teams.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, Bermuda like the back of your hands for sure. So it's going to be a situation where teams that are confident with their capabilities will not be thinking twice on those rotations out there. In fact, they're just going to go all out by the end of it. There is a possibility here that Tonyo steps on into this lobby without a full squad. We'll have to wait and see exactly how that is. But it looks like they may have jumped in. We'll wait to see exactly what that roster is like. 5 stars with the early jump into Cape Town. Sentosa finds Motion Gang there. The rest of them slowly making their way out as this flight path cuts through Sentosa all the way down to the observatory.
So it just has been confirmed that Tonyo will not be joining us. So again, another 11 teams from the first map, which is not looking good because we've seen how Abandonados work that well, or not so well from the previous set. But as we are looking in, TF Esports and Don Chui might be meeting up a little bit in the northern part of the map. But early engagement happening as well in Clock Tower, where Real G and Smoke has a meetup.
That's just crazy, man. I don't know, but you and I have been doing this for many years now already, Neptune, and this is not the first time we're seeing teams kind of miss out on these lobbies. And it's crazy to me because there's big money on the line, right? All you need to do is just qualify in top 12. And the way I see it, it's not a very tough journey to get there. So it's a little unfortunate for some of these teams that are not showing up for those points, because yes, you can join the rest of the games later, but if you're missing out on a few matches where you can pick up those crucial points, that probably might just be the difference between you qualifying to the finals or not.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not underestimating the teams right here. It's just that with the introduction or how the recent introduction of FFUSC, there's a lot of advantage that they can take. But for Real G, they're taking advantage of that knockdown to follow up and take down 16, 17, 18. Now, Crazy right now, Firepower in hand, will try to deal with one. And Crazy is also going in for the pickup. So no cover, no glue wall. Was able to go in for a quick pick up, especially with that Tiva, and still have a chance to fight back.
Yeah, I mean, great that he had the Tiva on him, and like you said, allows him to go for a quick pickup. But Josue and Joe Jam not taking advantage of the fact that the man had no glue walls at all is just insane to me. But of course, perhaps they were just playing a little bit more safer out there. CDG putting the hurt down onto Dark Hunters. And it looks like Dark Hunters might just be eliminated a little bit too early here. You can see the turret set up on the second floor. Team Real G is playing it like Real G's, and Dark Hunters unfortunately eliminated early in the 11th spot.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Hunters going dark a little bit too early at this point. They went into the shadows and will be back into the next game. But speaking of shadows, it is the two players right now from Real G just staying in the shadows, doesn't want to deal with the smoke. They don't want to be choked at this point. They don't want to suffocate against the smoke, who is a full squad right now. And Joe Jam and Joshua, both of the J's, will be at a loss at this point, especially after that knockdown.
Thompson with the crazy plays, finds one, but the MP40 catches him Josue, holding it on for the rest of his squad. With the MP5 in the hands of Yolkis, pulls something solid away from him, pulls up the glue wall for the pickup, but instead gets sprayed down to the ground. Team Smoke smokes out their opponent's Real G.
Yeah, I mean, that Orion is very viable, but it doesn't work that well, especially if you're going against three players. The replacement of the EP with that Crimson Energy is quite good, as well as how it's absorbing a few points from your opponent. But if you're dealing with three players, even if it spreads out along the three, there's a very little chance of you surviving. So T-Rex right now going in against 5 stars. Again, less chance of surviving, especially there's only 2 players in the mix against 3 from T-Rex.
Yep. Kenny trying to have some backup here from that high ground. Bolakan, what a shot. Just jumps on out there, and it's the FGL that gets the initial hurt and the knockdown. Most probably an assist there from the rest of his team members. Helped him get that point. But 5 stars, looking like 3 stars at this point of time up against T-Rex.
Well, let's see now. I mean, it might be 2 stars because 2 is down already, and 1 will be revived. But 5 stars will need to move away. They don't want to deal with TRX right now. And judging from the movement, they should identify which team they're going against, despite of not seeing T-Rex on that kill feed or even on whatever feed, because they don't have any idea who they're dealing with. So just for the movement itself, it reminds me of how other regions are playing. That is what T-Rex is doing right now. The movement, the jump, as well as the weapon that they're putting into the mix. So I'm looking forward to how T-Rex is going to play it out, especially in those instances that they have a good chance that they can join other regions in the fray.
Yeah, TF up against Rosario Central, and it looks like 2 of their players down and out already. Don Chui keeping an eye on this engagement. Riptide Rhythm to Timbuktu, I don't know. That one just went somewhere else. And we'll find one from afar. As mentioned, Don Chui keeping an eye on Rosario Central. This plays up against them. Mendoza not going to be able to bring his buddies back in here as he gets sprayed down to the ground. But Rosario Central backing away, had a vehicle in hand, and the revival probably just a few seconds away. Palmer out in the open. He just got to hope and pray that as he tries to rotate here, nobody finds him. But the man's broke 300 coins. He can't revive anyone with that.
Yeah, I mean, looking at where he's heading, I think he is going into peak right now, and it's a safe spot. Most of the time, we see a lot dropping into peak and not really like going away and going away to get all those elimination. Just waiting it out, and then that's where they get all of those elimination from afar. But Peak is open, Palmer is safe, and let's see for the rest of the teams as X World is trying to go in and needs to recover forever because, well, nothing lasts forever, but forever can be brought back in.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Palmer, 500 coins in his pocket already. Has got the revival platform there. Doesn't have to waste his coins, actually. But we'll see exactly what he's up to in a little bit. 5 stars up against X-World. And this should be a fairly easy fight for X-World here, except the fact that they have 2 players on that revive. Make that 3. At least they get to outnumber 5 stars here if they are lucky with that rotation. We'll have to catch up with the rest of the revive players in a little bit. T-Rex, as you can see, is going to be in a position where they can gatekeep both 5 stars as well as X-World. So these 2 teams, once they're done with this fight, it's not over just yet.
Well, all right, so noise has been made. It might pull in T-Rex at the moment, but no, T-Rex is going into next phase of the circle, potential next phase of the circle, and 5 stars is taking advantage of this. We are seeing Server trying to go in, and there goes Kenny as well for the backstab, taking advantage of the distraction onto X Mario. So he will be taken out, brought back, and might be dealt with later on.
2 eliminations in hand. 5 stars is looking 5 stars again. Maybe 4 stars with the 4 players surviving out there. Their sub hasn't showed up just yet. X-World up against CDG. Circle's going to close in on them. It's not going to hurt too much, but it's going to just put on that extra bit of pressure on these players as they try to look for the next circle. The most important factor is they might just get gate kept by the end of things. That clue is used, and he had no clue that there's nobody around him, so he's just wasting a lot of time.
Yeah, speaking of survivability, Smoke right now will need to work with survivability because not only are they tanking the blue, but they're very far to the next phase of the circle. So gatekeeping would be one of their problems, but not quite sure what ideation is. They just want to get away from the rest of the teams, but this is way too far. That was on an extreme right now, despite of even in the launch pad, not even halfway through the time or the distance that they need to travel.
T-Rex not as aggressive in this game, but CDG, who was on that slow climb up to the top, will be able to find themselves 5 eliminations already, and Hockey out of nowhere. VSS to the guts of I'm Guts, but the glue walls instantaneously erected here as Don Tree goes in for the save. And as we were talking about CDG, they are looking to ramp up their aggression. Vale backing away, CDG on for the hunt, and it looks like Don Chu is about to lose a player.
Palazito, Don Chui will need back up, and Hockey is the one going down against 13.
Wow.
The pickup will be done. The distraction will save Vale, and Vale will not be closing in on them just yet. But all this noise might pull in T-Rex because they are prepping up on that bridge. So let's see if that is something that player JK will take advantage of. Otherwise, it's just CDG against Don Chui, and they're taking their sweet time. Because of the blue closing in, as well as the next phase of the circle, it might not be a threat for them, but here comes T-Rex getting too close.
Yeah, a little bit too close for sure, but what a game-saving knock there from Vale, because CDG was about to go in for the total shutdown. Now, a player taken out of the equation already. T-Rex Gaming can perhaps distract the players of CDG. We see a couple of shots out of that M82B towards the player of T-Rex. King keeping an eye on them as well. CDG has to be careful because they've already picked a fight with Don Chui. Don Chui knows where their position is. An R1 scan can instantaneously expose them. Now as CDG moves back in to perhaps end the fight up again, the team will catch up with them in a little bit as the child just gets sprayed down out of nowhere. Don Chui finds one. A 13 is going to get taken out. The question is, does the pickup come through in time? Answers no. Now 7 with the instantaneous shutdown. Vale out as well. CDG on a tear now.
Yeah, CDG, especially with that Oscar takedown. And let's see, I'm Guts right now from Don Chui. M249 trying to go in and distract them or probably just pull them out in this fight. There goes the takedown by I'm Guts, but up close and personal, the king shows up and the throne as well as the crown has been taken again.
Yeah, you gotta love that SMG, man. The MP40, low on the mag size, but high in damage. Just went up there. Oh, it's a crazy spray down. Look at 5 stars. Just try to shoot down players who are on that revival parachute back into the game. Manages to find one. TF Esports not having a great match here for themselves at all. 8 teams still left on the 12-minute mark. That shows you the quality that we have in both groups A and C.
Yeah, definitely. And I love how 5-star managed to get away from harm, especially T-Rex above them. And we saw a few hits, but they didn't, or they were not knocked down. So they need to be careful, though, because the next phase of the circle is far away from this bridge. But as we look into the rest, we have X-World right now in trouble from the hands of CDG. Full rotation being done by T-Rex, and 5-star right now on the follow-through. A little bit of boost on player JK would help him, but there you have it. A boost right there and a takedown. Smart move coming from T-Rex.
Oh, X-Wrecker. Knock coming on through, but no eliminations just yet. Couldn't wreck the game off the squad as 5 stars instantly turn around and hightails it out of there, not wanting to deal with Team T-Rex. Bolakard and gang will need to look for another victim. This time round, T-Rex just hasn't been able to be super aggressive in motion. Gang, of all teams, taken out so early on here in this match.
And I have been playing very passive, and I don't think they had a lot of elimination at that point. So Motion Gang will need to switch it up a little bit. Yes, go for survivability, but at least stack up in terms of elimination a little bit early. But for Rex right now, going against Rosario Central, or T-Rex against Rosario Central, this is where player JK and Escolta will be meeting up. But CDG says, nope, stop right there. We have you on our crosshairs. You need to back away.
Yeah, absolutely. And Darius down on the ground. Irvin, the culprit, shot from afar. And Darius instantly picked up here, all thanks to that heal gun. So Rosario Central continues to rage on. Kane down on the ground, but that's not going to be too much of a problem at all. Into just on for those pumping shots, one after the other. But the circle is about to leave them high and dry. As TF Esports is eliminated in the 5th spot, we've got 4 more teams left in the fray.
Yeah, 4 more teams right here, and Rosario Central against a T-Rex. Potential backstab might be happening, but it's a good thing T-Rex has those monster truck for cover. King will be knocked down for CDG, but quickly picked up. And CDG, what they need to do right now is just wait it out. A backstab might be happening, but they are in good distance to be able to deal with a T-Rex in a bit. Blues closing in, T-Rex might be the ones in trouble, but Talent will be taken down because of player JK.
FCDG, 13 eliminations, big game. Rosario Central shutting them down one after the other as well. But T-Rex under the crosshairs of Rosario Central, looking for the booyah as they come back in here. And the dinosaurs will be wiped out in this phenomenal lobby that we already highlighted. It's not going to be easy to dominate at all. But even though I say it's not easy to dominate, look at the number of eliminations. 18 in the hands of Rosario Central, 13 in the hands of CDG, and a high ground advantage to the side of CDG. King, XM8 in a hand, goes in for the sprays. Bye-bye, Irvin, they say. As Team Smoke puts in the damage, Mao hits him from the back, and Irvin is claimed by Mao as well. Make that 14 eliminations now. Smoke is the distraction, but they need to set down CDG.
Yeah, let's see, though, if they'll be able to do it. Talent right now, MH2B in hand, a little bit too close, though. Won't make it. And there goes the takedown by Into. CDG had the great advantage earlier on, but has been eliminated in a 3rd. Now, we have Rosario Central being hunted. Palmer right now. And there goes Smoke. Despite of them being so far from the rest of the teams, coming in late, managed to grab that booyah.
What? You see, that's the secret, man. Just stay out of trouble. Stay away from the fights. I mean, two super dominators out there in the lobby. CDG is definitely going to launch themselves up into that #1 spot after that performance. But out of nowhere, we see Rosario Central getting the most number of eliminations here. And the Dinosaurs just couldn't find any space for dominance. But it's just crazy how Smoke managed to walk away with the booyah. That was a shocker for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they want to be that dispersed. They don't want to be untouched at that moment. And
yes,
Smoke cannot be touched, but it's what they did. They tanked the blue, and I think we had a glimpse of that earlier. Tank the blue, very far from next phase of the circle. They just inched their way in into that final moment, distracted Rosario Central against CDG, and then just bring down CDG despite of the high ground advantage that CDG has. So Smoke did survivability quite that well, but in terms of elimination, is that enough?
And what's crazy is we were not spotting the players of Rosario Central at all much in this game. And they were just on a collecting spree, right? 18 eliminations by the time they got into that final circle is nothing short of ridiculous. This team, I mean, we thought the 17 eliminations was solid from the side of the Dinosaurs earlier. Rosario Central was like, hold up, guys, hold up. We haven't played just yet. And they came bursting out of the gate. So great performance from both CDG as well as Rosario Central. But the big brain play was by Smoke, who stayed out of the fight, right? This is getting messy between these two Titans. We'll just wait and see what happens. And they had the numbers to pull away the final shot. Final nail in the coffin to Palmer as Smoke walked away with the booyah. So 20 points for Smoke. It's a damn good game for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 20 points, especially with a booyah. But for MVP, it is Mouse 7 from CDG. 9 elimination, 38-66 on the damage, 12 headshots, and well, let's deal with the plasma gun first because we rarely see this. But I love the fire rate at this point as well as the damage.
Yeah.
Steel shell, just to make sure that you are not being shot from the back, and I don't know how to explain this, but how the active and passive skill has been put up, it's quite something else.
It truly is something else. It's very creative. We've got the steel shell in here to protect your back as well. So Mao 7, he knew he was going to go out there for a very aggressive game, but so did Into from Rosario Central. Both players getting 9 eliminations each. Into just a little bit more concise with his shots, obviously with a lot of backup from the rest of his team members as well, putting in the damage. 2 revives by Into, though, as the backup player for the squad. So I mean, overall, I really cannot say who was the better squad between CDG as well as Rosario Central. I think both of them performed so well in this game, to our very, very delightful surprise. The T-Rex gang barely got anything out of this match.
I mean, it's tough, though. They try to be passive, and we noticed that as well. There's a good chance that they could have third-party a lot of engagement, to be exact, but they kept their distance, just managed to go for the blue, and that's where they lost a lot. So I don't know what the tactic is. Probably they're trying to play for booyahs, especially with RNKTZ not into the mix, but at least they could have gone with a lot of elimination and then deal with taking booyahs later on.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, 21 eliminations versus the 14 in the head-to-head between Rosario Central and CDG. This is the second and the third spot being compared. Who's number 1 in Steve Smoke, baby? Unfreaking precedented stuff out here. But 21 eliminations by Rosario Central. That's the most within the day. And I think that's just so impressive, right? Because with just this one game, Rosario Central is now in the conversation. This is the most amount of points picked up by a team so far in the day, not just eliminations alone. So this is just, insane through one match.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Rosario Central, I know with how Escolta played it once the group stage has been happening, that they have been a part of the conversation with a lot more. But this is how you start a group. Similar to what we've seen from T-Rex, elimination-wise, they are bringing it on. But let's not take it away from the Booyah Takers, which is Smoke right now. Though they have only 8 elimination, but how they work it out is just pristine. But going back into our list in the standings, CDG, 14 elimination, and they took that advantage. If they could have split up in the final moment, they could have managed to grab a Booyah as well. 2 for Rosario Central, 2 for Smoke, and just take them out. Given that I would say the distraction that has been brought in by Smoke.
30 points in one game. Now at this point, I don't know if or not dinosaurs can sweat, but I can tell you, the players on the side of T-Rex Gaming, they are sweating for sure. And you can see that red line that we have drawn across the team of Rail G as well as TFE Sports. The teams that are below that red line will be eliminated at the end of the knockout stage. So we've got 2 days for the knockout stage. This is day 1 out of 2. And we are at our halfway point already at the end of this third match. T-Rex only has 1 more game to pick up those points. So if they don't go crazy in this next match, then they're going to lose out because obviously Rosario Central is looking for that number 1 spot.
Yeah, definitely. That red line is so subtle that you don't really notice it. So I love production for that. And similar to what Smoke has done, they are subtle in their approach. We didn't notice them at this point, but they have only a few more chances to work with because they are part of Group A, and if they want to maintain their position, especially in the 4th place or even higher, then they need to bring it on for the next matches because Group B will be introduced after the 4th map, and they might be thrown out of the window later on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, it seems to be a situation where Group C is just made up of monsters, right? But I don't know if or not we are done seeing the capability of some of these monsters because Motion Gang got eliminated too early. Don Chui left the lobby with not a lot of points, so there's still a lot of room for them to catch up with whatever Group A has brought in here so far.
Yeah, let's see now. Let's see. There's a lot of promise that we can see right now out of these games, but especially a promise of giving the viewers what they want. We have another set of codes that will be shown in 3, 2, 1. And let's go. There's your next code. Only first 100 players can redeem it. Just make sure that you head in to our redemption site, reward.ff.garena.com.
Absolutely, man. And of course, these items have been a absolute delight to redeem so far. You guys are lucky because we are on broadcast and we can't make up.
Hold on.
Every time I pull my game out to redeem the code, it's already out. So if you are not quick with it, you're going to miss out big time on here. So each and every single time we bring these codes out, you guys smile a little bit wider. But trust us, we've got more smiles coming up for you as well. Stay all the way up until the end of the broadcast to redeem each and every single one of our giveaways. Not just for today, but tomorrow as well as the grand finals. We've got quite a number of these stacked up for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully the smiles also comes in with the tactics that we are seeing from the gameplay, because this is something that you can use on your ranked games, even if you are hoping to be the next teams to be in this mix of FFUSC. Yeah. We did mention in the initial part of the group stages that it has been a while since the United States has brought in a tournament for Free Fire, and this is your chance. Again, not underestimating any teams that is part of this tournament, but as we can see, there's still a lot of promise for players to evolve and adjust to the game style, adjust to the meta, but they're doing pristine, especially those getting those Booyah.
Yeah, man. I mean, RNKTC, back-to-back Booyah in the first 2 games. They're taking a break here. They were not playing on Bermuda. Obviously, they're not going to be playing in Solara as well because they are in Group B. But what's insane is, although they've got 2 Booyahs to their name, Rosario Central just played 1 match. No Booyahs at all. Close enough to the Booyah. 9 points on the placements, right? And they are in the 5th spot. They're so close to ripping away the position that RNKTZ holds. And then later on in Purgatory and Alpine, we get to see these 2 teams in the same lobby. just like how T-Rex has been bled out here for points, I wonder if the same is going to happen to RNKTZ as well. Because you see, at the group stages over 2 weeks, we didn't really see the best version of RNKTZ up until today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, how they're playing, how RKTZ is playing is more of a passive approach. Yes, they are ending up with a few elimination from afar, but not so much as completely annihilating a squad. So this time around, they worked out. They work out their gameplay, they work out their rotation, probably watch some VODs as well. So how can they go and counter other teams? But let's see if this is something that we are going to see from the other teams still on Group A and C, because we're jumping into Solara, the newest introduction in terms of our map pool, where hopefully not everyone is still at a loss, especially in the drop spot, especially in the rotation, because there's still a lot of changes, a lot of promise in this map.
But mad respect to the teams out here, though, because we were seeing, multiple hot drops across the battlefield, and many of the teams kind of making, huge boo-boos overall with the initial flight path. A majority of them deciding to jump out of the plane towards the very end of the map. And you can see that's such a huge difference here at the knockout stages. In the week 3, enough homework has been done already. They kind of know what's the preferred drop spots. Although we have not had many matches to play thus far, the teams are able to stay alive for much, much longer now in this week.
Yeah, let's see, though, if in this map, a lot of players will still be alive, because I'm seeing 3 teams into Windmill, Motion Gang, T-Rex, as well as 5 stars. And one thing I would say is Motion Gang, this doesn't go with their playstyle. Most of the time, they are passive, so they need to move away quite quickly. But as you can see, a little bit of a Clash Squad gameplay is in here, but instead of a team versus team, it's a team versus team versus team.
Oh, Bolakan! The first one down is the mini Uzi in the hands of Asta. But Russo X going in here for the shutdown. And he will find exactly that. Instantaneous, and player JK buys Bolakan right back into the fray. And it looks like T-Rex wants a little bit of revenge as Bolakan drops right back in. 5 stars wants a piece of this action.
Yeah, 5 stars on a higher ground that pushes T-Rex in a compound, but split up Motion Gang is still being hunted by the dinosaurs. So this is tough, though, for T-Rex, because they are stuck in between 2. Bolakarn will be taken down once again. P90 from the hands of Itadori, but Eric right now Trogan against Zenitsu. So this is where 5 stars will be showing up, and let's see who's going away. Would it be Motion Gang or T-Rex, or probably none?
Yeah, absolutely. And 3 eliminations in hand already for T-Rex. It looks like they definitely understand the severe implications of not performing in this match, and they are off to a fantastic start. But again, 2 times in a row, Bolakarn is that sacrificial lamb for the squad, as the rest of them hurry on to find those points for the team. And the next spot is probably going to be at Windmill here for that vending machine revival. T-Rex looking for that, and maybe they might find more than that. Maybe they might find 4 points, or they could find themselves in the lobby again very quickly.
Let's see, though. There goes Rosario Central joining the fray. So this is a good chance for them. Good chance to really surprise T-Rex at this point. Take them out, and there goes Russo out from this fight. Darius right now moving in a little bit too close, and Rosario Central is just taking advantage. Bolakarn just coming back from that revive. Through elimination, this is a chance. This is a time for they to really hightail and get away from Windmill.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that revival will bring him into the matchup, but unlike what we saw earlier on, he drops far, far away to play the inference policy for the rest of team. Darius staring at a wall at the wrong time. And Kane takes advantage. And 1887 to the back, and Rosario Central has taken over Windmill.
Yeah, I mean, that's trying to go and TPP against the window. But didn't expect the backstab happening. Asta, though, might be running into trouble. It's a 1v4 that's bound to happen, but he's just collecting coins. collecting coins and getting away from the visuals of Rosario Central. But one, I guess that was Into, who sees him and just hightails it into the vending machine. Will he have time to bring back one of the teammates? But it is a loss, though. I mean, 1-for-1 in the trade. This is unfortunate for MTG right now.
Let's face it, man. Asta, he deserves to be sacrificed right now just because of his skin. What a nade out of nowhere! Kane with the bounce on the frag, and hasta la vista, they say to Asta. But the instant revival of the full squad will make sure Motion Gang still stays in this. And Rosario Central, game after game, they are bringing that aggressive play into the mix, and it seems to be faring them very well. They're chasing away all of these big names from compound after compound as they take over.
Yeah, definitely. And 5 Stars has been eliminated as well. And it is from the hands of Tonyo. When they went in, got away from Windmill, head into the Riders Club, that was Tonyo is staying. Now, Mendoza needs to be picked up right now. Uriel trying to go and defend themselves, but the window placement is, his placement in the window is not that good. Is in a good spot to be taken down, and taken down he has been. TF Esports will need to get away quickly because 0 elimination, 2 players remaining. That is not a good spot for you to stay.
It reminds me of a meme that I saw recently where, the rest of the players are shouting, get away from the window, I see a sniper. And then the player just stands at the window like the Pope waving at everyone. It doesn't work like that, bro. Hugo Cheeky, still alive and kicking. T-Rex, Darius sprayed down. Oh my, they just are not having a great game this time around. But Bolakan, this time finding performance for himself. Tadori down onto the ground. And Bolakan gets yet another point for the squad. Revival onto Darius is going to take a little while though. Asta right behind as Motion Gang hasn't managed to find their rhythm in the game just yet.
Yeah, I mean, they might not have found the rhythm, but at least they're finding their teammates. Another revival on Zenitsu, and that pull away that we've seen by Asta against Rosario Central. The revival on 2 players before being taken down against Rosario Central is the savior at this point. Smoke, though, they will need not a savior because they are going in for Dark Hunters and going in for aggressive push in Echo Drain, taking out 4 of the players, adding it to their board.
Yeah, that's what a Booyah can do for you, right? Pump up that adrenaline levels, pump up the confidence as well. For elimination, Smoke is playing this on a different level at this point of time. But we gotta see if or not they can maintain that consistency as they look for that final circle. So many eliminations and revivals we've seen in this match. And we're just at that 6-minute mark.
Let's see, though. I mean, Roberto was spotted earlier by Bolakan
and
missed that headshot with an inch. Glue wall saves Roberto, but for how long? The rest of the teams of T-Rex is back in play after a full revival, but they are being taken by the blue Lil by Lil, and they still have less than a minute to work with. But as we look into next phase of the circle, they need to do it quickly. And Motion Gang right now on the flank has been averted, especially with a Drogon from Bolakan.
Oh, look at this jump shots from Bolakan at the very edge of that slope. Beautifully done as he peeks in and out. Gets enough line of sight to find that elimination. Asta eating up 2 grenades. That's how he got eliminated earlier on as well. Player JK trying to get another grenade elimination onto Asta. FGL shot finding the connection onto the glue wall. JK, Trogon desperately trying to break down the glue wall. Bolakan from the back. And they will put an end to Asta. But MTG still in it. Fitadori desperately trying to bring the friends back in here through those revivals.
Yeah, they have plenty of coins this time around to go for a revival. But Bolakan defying the laws of physics from that jump. And, I love the scenery in the aquarium right now, especially at this point in time. For those who don't know, this Clash Squad scene is underneath the BR scene from what we have on the map. But let's see now, we are seeing the next phase of the circle coming in, and a lot of engagement happening, especially up north between Don Chui and Real G, but we don't have any clear view of who's winning the battle just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And X-World, let's look for some points out there. If they can extend their performance out here, they'll stand a chance to see themselves through into the grand finals. But it seems like we may be asking for too much. 18 Duck back in performance here as he finds one. And Roberto, Motion Gang, it looks like they're still in it.
Yeah, they're still back. I mean, again, they stack up on a lot of coins, and won't be surprised if we will see a Susie on them, or just lucky in getting all of those, especially there's a lot of coins in the battlefield. TF Esports right now, despite losing Yugo, they haven't run into next phase circle, just avoiding X World right now. It's a good thing Coda is not being used if they have it by X World. Otherwise, Cheeky will not be so cheeky after all. But for TF Esports, he has been the savior of the gang, especially when the group stage has happened.
And let's see if TF Esports can do something crazy here. Bringing the Shiba in, it's definitely a good idea because it's cute. But apart from that, what can MTG do with this? Ooh. RG, opportunity to find some sort of a recovery here, but the real Gs just can't find a break for themselves. Just shot after shot, they are getting cooked.
Yeah, definitely cooked, and also probably eaten alive, because not only are they need to deal with CDG, but there's also Rosario Central on the other side. So this hit list would be troublesome, especially if you're trying to go in passive, because it will show up bright red into the map, and there's no chance of getting away. But Real G's trying to do that to get into the next phase or middle of next phase of the circle that leaves RC or Rosario Central moving away, going for the flank.
Yeah, absolutely. And Polakarn finding Pitadori, instantly putting him out of the conversation. M590, Polakarn finding yet another, but there's just panic plays there. Roberto, M50, can he get this one? As two players are keeping an eye on him. M249 as well. And it looks like Roberto says bye-bye to all of us. His Motion Gang still could not find any. Uh-oh! Rosario Central on the way in. I expected this cross by the squad, but I didn't expect this so early on. T-Rex now leading the lobby with the most number of eliminations. Spotting out Rosario Central in the nick of time here before they are put into a unfortunate position. And it's Rosario Central, the first team to make it into the next circle, as T-Rex is keeping an eye on the players of MTG. This might have just been a mistake here on the side of T-Rex.
Let's see though. I mean, T-Rex, if they've seen Rosario Central, this will be saving grace for Motion Gang right now, because only one player is remaining, and there's also that revival platform that he can use to bring back the teammates. And the distraction by Rosario Central against T-Rex is being that destruction as well for T-Rex. 2 down with that M789, as well as Irving for the flank right now. But on the backside, goes in for a takedown. MTG eliminated at this point. T-Rex might be next.
Yeah, absolutely. And 7 eliminations in the hands of Rosario Central. Into needs to turn around. They do exactly that. And T-Rex, unfortunate, but eliminated in 7th. Rosario Central is not here to play. They're here to dominate.
Oh, definitely domination is what they are showing up right now. I mean, the moment that T-Rex really popped off, we got lost. Like, Rosario Central was out of our books, except for that one game. But now they are showing up. They want to bring that prestige back to their team. But let's see how they're going to do it. They need to deal with CDG once again, and they lost Irvin into the mix. So it's a 3v4 situation, and this is something that this is a time that they need to pull away, probably focus on revival, and then fight in a later time. But no, they are still aggressive and want to deal with CDG right now.
Oh, I mean, no idea where these players are. CDG is just wasting all of their frag grenades. The deep freeze as well, landing in a spot where it's not going to take away at anybody's health. Unfortunate misuse of those frags by King, and he might just pay a big price here. But thankfully, there is a little bit of support fire from that high ground, and Ricario's have not managed to take down a single player on the side of CDG. As they try to rotate away, Hockey finds one with a plasma gun again. And Rosario Central, they are gonna get cooked out there in the open.
Yeah, CDG showing up this time around. A little bit different, a little bit aggressive, and Plasma Gun had made it work. Eliminating not only Rosario Central, but also taking lead against T-Rex at this point. Huge potential for them, especially for the teams that is remaining. Tonyo of Tonyo will be taken down again with a plasma gun coming from King, and the rest of the teams will be far away in a good spot to be targeted by Talent.
Smoke looking for that back-to-back booyah. Unbelievable what a little bit of extra confidence can do for your squad. But CDG, 17 eliminations in hand already, and you got the spot on Neptune. With this performance, they've definitely overtaken T-Rex on that number 1 spot. But of course, Rosario Central's looking to replace both of them in the final 2 games. Smoke, 2 players down on the ground. Yokis as well as Crazy. No crazy plays out of them. Max Loco could not go in for the save onto Yokis, but he's focusing on the better player here. Max Loco almost sacrificed himself to the blue.
Let's see now. Z Mario is in trouble, unable to level up. Not even a chance to go in for a full fight. So he needs to be quiet at this point. But CDG and Smoke is heading in the same direction. The only compound that will be taken that is available. But there goes Z Mario being taken out again by the plasma gun from King. 19 elimination off their way to that 20.
Yeah, absolutely. And my goodness me. It looks like they might just be able to secure a total of 22 eliminations by the time they get to the end here. As yet another player put down onto the ground. 16, 17, 18, Woodpecker in hand, but is hiding away. Desperately trying to stay away from the rest of them. Talent, AWM plays. CQC finds a good connection with the M82B as well. Insane stuff out of the sniper, out of CDG. And now in a 3v2. Both players on the side of Smoke have managed to retreat far enough. Max Loco cooking up that nade. Who's gonna eat it? Nice and wide, and it bounces off the glue wall instead. King, smart play with the Orion. And M1887 gets a double for CDG to hit a massive booyah. 22 eliminations strong.
Cartel de Golfo is back, I would say. And the King showing up as the king of this battlefield. And it's thanks to that plasma gun. I couldn't emphasize how that plasma gun has changed how CDG has run this final, this 4th map overall. But 22 elimination plus the booyah, they are on their way to be on the board again.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing here, because not only am I impressed with CDG's performance and the consistency, plasma gun, bro. I did not expect the plasma gun to be the MVP out there, many a times today for the squad. But overall, I'm actually quite surprised that T-Rex did not get a lot of points. But this is just day 1 of 2. In this knockout stage here for T-Rex, and based on their previous performance, we can tell that they ramped it up on the second day of play. If they ramp it up further than whatever they put out here today, I would genuinely be impressed.
Oh, definitely. I mean, impressive on how T-Rex will bring it back, but they will need to do double time, because a lot of teams has been performing. Not only have we seen like Rosario Central doing a lot more better than them, but also CDG getting the booyah in here. It's not just an easy booyah. It is a lot of elimination. They went in for so much engagement and even tried to get away in a little bit more. So survivability, firepower, CDG has it. It's just up until now that they decide to show up.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, they waited, but did they wait too long, right? Overall, their performance was still better than T-Rex, who we assumed was finding a lot of dominance out here in the lobby. But it could also be the fact that CDG knew that, okay, this is our final opportunity in the day. Yeah. We should go all out. They went all out, and they got quite a solid number of points from that. And the MVP is none other than King with the Orion. The plasma gun was definitely used, but the M1887 in that final battle sequence, getting a triple for this man, shows exactly why he's called the king.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I'm seeing as well is Miguel being used as a passive skill, the Crazy Slayer. It's a good title, good active skill for the Slayer King. Gains the 200 EP. But let's go to head-to-head. It's King against Crazy. I mean, not too crazy in terms of gap, though, because we've seen how well these two players has. 8 elimination in the King, 5 for Crazy, 3k on the damage, 2k for Crazy as well, and 1 revive for King. CDG showing up this time around, and I guess won't be surprised if they will end up number 1 after that game.
Guaranteed number 1 spot for CDG. This was a bloody good performance. But of course, I'm actually quite nervous for these teams because, you know, Rosario Central pulled off a massive game in the previous one. They didn't do so well this time, but they've got 2 more games to go. So this is something that, you know, CDG and T-Rex definitely have to kind of wrap their head around. Overall stats, though, CDG pulling away the most number of eliminations here, a total of 22. Game after game, we just see these stats going up higher and higher. I wonder if or not, final 2 games, we're going to have this record broken yet again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 82 elimination, that's a lot already. And I'm not quite sure if it's a map-based, because I think every time we go into Lara, there's a lot of engagement happening. Probably it's because of the number of the revives that can be done in this map. But heading into the match standings, we have 34 has been taken by CDG. That takes them, bring them to number 1 spot. Smoke, though, 22 points. After that Booyah, they are maintaining their consistency. So they might be taking over. Rosario Central's numbers are probably higher because of how they're playing after 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, Smoke has been in participation ever since the very first match. So, you know, that's 4 games done for them. Rosario Central should be able to overtake them very easily. In fact, not just them. Smoke, T-Rex, CDG, they are all in trouble because Rosario Central, with just 2 matches, are in that 4th spot. RNKTZ, though, they are gonna be back. And although RNKTZ has got 2 Booyahs to their name, you see Rosario Central still 1 step above them. That's what's so impressive about Rosario.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Rosario Central, yes, the gap might be a lot, but one thing is for sure, they have a good chance to bring it back. On RNKTZ, well, yes, they have been taken over by so much. 2 Booyahs already to their name, but because of the number of elimination that they have brought in within those 2 Booyahs, that makes it difficult for them to really take the number 1 spot. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see in a bit, especially with the groupings that we have right now. And that's one thing that would change, or that is disrupting how the teams are playing this time. They have good chance, especially for those playing latter part of the day, good chance to study their opponent and take advantage of them.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So CDG, T-Rex, 5-star Smoke, Rail G, as well as Dark Hunters, they are done with their matches for the day. And the team that pulled the least number of points away from this Group A was Dark Hunters. Today was not a good day for them at all. But, you know, understandably so, because some of the points that these big teams were pulling away were just way too many, right? And Dark Hunters just couldn't find, first of all, a good drop spot. They couldn't find those rotations, and they couldn't keep up with the gunfights. I understand the gunfights department because of how crazy the North American lobby is, but those drop spots is something that they can most definitely look into. And thankfully, these are the teams that they're going to be playing tomorrow as well. So we should be able to see a little bit of adjustments. But if they don't bring in those adjustments, though, Dark Hunters will probably be one of the first teams to get eliminated before we move on to the finals.
Yeah, we're going to find out about more of that later on, but after 2 matches, we're going to go for a quick break. When we return, the final 2 match of the day will happen. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, and this is a Free Fire USA Championship 2025, down to last two maps and the last two games, this time for Group B and C, because Group A will be taking a rest, but no resting, indeed, all awake. I am Neptune the Gentleman Garcia, joined by my brother, the Mustachio AJ.
Yeah, man. I mean, I sure as hell hope these teams don't actually take a rest just yet. 2 more games left on in here. Group B, though, Group A, though, had some good rest before hopping on into the fray. 4 games back to back, and now they get to chill a little bit. We saw Group B in performance in the first 2 matches, and then they were chilling whilst they watched whatever Group C had to bring to the table. And in Group C, we have one dominator called Rosario Central. Everybody else performed fairly all right? But of course, speaking of fairly all right, what's not all right is the fact that we made you wait for more codes. And here is the code this time round in 3, 2, 1. There you go. Hit your screenshot, get it redeemed. First 100 players will be able to get the item.
Head on over to reward.ff.garena.com to be able to redeem this exclusive code. And once again, there's only 1 item per player, and it only is available within the broadcast. And I don't think everyone would bother, because that would be gone in a minute. So let's see who has the fastest fingers. And flex it as well in the comment section. We are taking a peek on the chat, especially on YouTube, and this is where we find out. Also, big shout out to Real Mad, a 9-year-old player that we have joining us as a Survivors viewers.
Absolutely, man. And of course, shout out to you, Real Mad. But what's real mad is the fact that with 2 games alone, Rosario Central has managed to jump up to the top, currently sitting in the 4th spot, and they're going to be able to rip away that number 1 spot as long as they can pull off a massive game right after this. And based on what they've been able to do in the more difficult lobby with some of the Titans from Group A, I think this is something that, we can definitely look forward to. But will RNKTZ be capable of snuffing out Rosario Central? Because, every team has got a kryptonite out there. Maybe for Rosario Central, it's RNKTZ. But I have to say, though, with 2 games played for each, Rosario Central as well as RNKTZ, RNKTZ has 2 booyahs, Rosario has none, but Rosario is still ahead of RNKTZ. That's a shocker.
Definitely. I mean, as we often say, no booyah, no problem, especially in the knockout stage. And this is what Rosario Central has been showing us right now. But for RNKTZ, they can be a little bit aggressive right now in terms of elimination, so that they can get ahead of Rosario Central. Probably giving away the booyah on the board, but it's good as well if they can hit another set of booyahs, especially in Purgatory and Alpine, just making a record for themselves, just to make sure as well that once they are on a champion rush condition, they can make it work.
And this is what's crazy, right? Because, of course, we've talked so much about those at the top of the leaderboard, but it matters not. Even if you're on the number 1 spot, it doesn't matter, because it's equal to being on that 12th spot by the time we qualify into the grand finals. What does matter is you are not in the bottom 6. We've got a total of 18 teams. If you're in the bottom 6, you get eliminated before we head on into our grand finals. And as we head on into Purgatory, there are a few teams that needs to be concerned with this, right? Of course, Dark Hunters as well as the Real G. Dark Hunters did no hunting. Real G showed no gangsterism out there. They were just getting capped time and time again. They're from Group A. They will not be able to say much in here in these next 2 games. In fact, they won't be able to say anything except cry, because they've picked up too few points. I guess this moment is inevitable for them, because they are about to get relegated to the bottom 6. And the teams that are currently in the bottom 6, Phantom as well as Abandonados, especially Abandonados, after abandoning the first opportunity that they had in the day, they desperately need to look for the higher parts of the leaderboard when we head on into the final 2 games.
Yeah, final 2 games, the final 2 teams or groups that we have right now. Group B and Group C, as you did mention, Abandonados only getting 4 points after 2 games, or technically only 1 game. And it's even apologies for the term, worse that what Tonyo has brought in, because Tonyo was in the same situation currently in the 15 and even tied up with Don Chui, which is in the same group as they are. So they lost out on one game. They didn't go in, I believe, and they are doing quite well. So let's see if Phantom and Abandonados will be able to do this as we start our game in Purgatory 4. Game number 6, or game number 5 rather. And, well, let's see if neither heaven nor hell can save them to be able to get to the top 12.
Don't fast forward it to game 6 that quick, Nep. I want to see who hits the Purgatory Booyah first. And I want to see, obviously, bit of adjustments here. You remember Motion Gang? They were that number 1 squad out of our Group B for the group stages, but they haven't really shown up in the first 2 games. We want to see what they can do here up against the teams of Group B, because Motion Gang, obviously in the lobby where they hopped on in, they're part of Group C, but they didn't really manage to get those points because of how many dominating squads we have out there. Holy Lord. And now to make things worse, the flight path skewed towards the right as well, cutting down from Ski Lodge all the way to Central and Fire Brigade. This is still going to keep that high-tier loot zone within arm's length, but places like Crossroads, Marble Works, Quarry, are going to be a little bit more difficult to get to. Probably going to see a few hot drops here, Nep.
Yeah, one difference that I'm seeing right now, especially in Group B and C mix-up, is the delay in terms of drop. Probably it's the skew of the flight path, or probably this is how they want to deal with this right now, because they have specific drop spot and they are planning to go south, but everything might go south, especially as everyone is going into Central. That is RC, Rosario Central, RNKTZ, even X-Whirl is in here, so great move for RNKTZ just to move away one compound.
Yeah, absolutely, and RNKTZ, we'll catch up with them in a little bit. Team Fighters on style. It looks like Pana is there for the backup for King, even if he gets knocked down. Gaju, plasma gun in hand. Pana with the XM8. XM8's definitely the better gun to get that headshot. But it is that plasma that finds the connection first. And Pana is going to be at a lesser part of the risky side here because he does have that electrotherapy working on him. King and will find the connection. Double shots connecting with Gaju. And unfortunately, there's just no shutdown just yet. All thanks to that glue wall pulled up by Gaju. Pana down on that lower ground. And Gaju just very easily sidestepping all of this as he waits for backup from the rest of the fighting squad team members.
Yeah, 2-9 right now will bring 1. Let's see if he can bring 2 at this point. And that Kazi connection, Vanshu will be taken down, but the pickup is quite well. P90 in hand against the Drogon, but the Drogon wins it, and the King still managed to give it on this fight. Team Fighters, though, still fighting it on against OnStyle, and Vanshu will be back with M590 as well as a Woodpecker in hand. So 2 eliminations already for Team Fighters. And OnStyle will be in here, but with all those gunshots being heard, RNKTZ would want a piece of this battle.
Yep, Trangia, FGL, straight to Vanshu, takes away a little bit of his HP and makes sure he can't play that glue wall for too long. An FGL response comes on through as well, but Vanshu really low on that HP. Gaju loses his glue wall and his life at the same time. MTG again! Too soon, eliminated from the lobby. And Motion Gang will find nothing. I thought Trangia was about to get caught with his pants down as he ran past Vanshu looking for his teammate Blaze. But Vanshu just doesn't take advantage of that situation at all. Of course, he was outnumbered there. And RNKTZ off to a fantastic start. Maybe they want to go for a quadra booyah in here today, but the boys are driving the wrong way.
Wrong way into the water. I quite sure though. I mean, I don't know.
It was in the plan. It was in the plan.
He might have checked out the map and didn't see that he's running into the water. But X-World right now running in the cruise of the Free Fire multiverse is in here. There you go. I mean, the wasted vehicle on him from here. And 590 Chrono has been put up. but MP40 in hand will not work. And there goes the takedown against Z Mario. And the crews will be on the other side. So there's a good chance that they will meet up against OnStyle as RNKTZ has left the building.
I don't even know what Mario was doing as he was running towards the corner of the compound. He had no backup. Two players right in front of him. That was just way too cheeky from Mario, and he paid a big price for that. Teams on the back foot, having to waste coins to buy this guy back. So we'll catch up with them in a little bit. But again, Motion Gang, Neptune, they are literally in the bottom 6. They're so close to the bottom of the leaderboard. And now getting taken out early is not helping out their case at all. Today's a bad day for Motion Gang.
Definitely. I mean, they went in static at this point. No motion at all for Motion Gang. And let's see now. I mean, there's still one more chance for them in this next map of Alpine. But RNKTZ, well, there is a good chance that they will see the crews at this point, just sleeping all the way. 200 on the coins, not even enough to revive one teammate. And RKTZ, I guess they have the information, though they are not leaving this place that soon because of the vending machine that is a potential that can be taken by any other team, not specifically for X World.
Yeah, man. And RKTZ, what a start for them. And Blex is just going to chill. He's like, I'm not going to say anything. X-World has the crews. Both of them are sweating. RNKTZ, they better hope and pray these boys do not have a clue on them. I mean that literally. The clue on them would mean disaster. But Rosario Central spotting out RNKTZ. This could just be the opportunity for both X-World and OnStyle to get away. Blex dropping down to the ground. Probably looking for that vending machine. Does he have enough coins? RNKTZ being forced back because of Rosario Central. And this is going to allow them to catch out the crews who's just chilling. And you got to love it, man. That's exactly what we need. But of course, Silent wrecking him instantaneously. Picking up Incy as well. RNKTZ, 4 eliminations. But Rosario Central here to finish the job that they started. Right, stuck between a rock and a hard place here in terms of these logs. And into a sliver of health on him. Skylar, Riptide Rhythm, breaking down their defenses and out of nowhere, turning the tables onto them. Palmer's break down to the ground. And Rosario Central have met their match.
Yeah, let's see now into a little bit of recovery, and Tranghia can be dealt with in a moment. And there you go. With that jump shot with M590, Into is still on it, but silent but deadly. And Rosario Central, Irvin has been pushed out. 300 of the coin, not so much for recovery, but still they survive. So again, RNKTZ winning gunfight, and now with 7 elimination can easily bring Itzy back because of the vending machine. But OnStyle Blex might not be breathing a little bit easy because he will be the next target.
On the overall leaderboard, it looked like Rosario Central was the better team, and they came chasing the players of RNKTZ, and they were the first ones to get the knock. But unfortunately for them, the squad of RNKTZ just turned the tides instantaneously. What a fight from RNKTZ. I mean, if they hit the quad booyah, I'm just going to say that's well-deserved.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they are showing up not only in the final moment, but also midway. So let's see on how well they can do it right now. For Abandonados, they have the 2 points that can bring them a little bit higher because there's nowhere that they can go lower because of they're on the 18th spot. But it's a good thing that they are surviving. Brasilia is where they are staying right now, and it's almost in the middle of the next phase of the circle. For Rosario Central, quick revival because of the platform, but OnStyle will also be on this way. So Irvin might be able to take spot on King, and it's not CDG King. It is OnStyle King, but nope. He don't want to deal and mess with anyone right now, and he pulls away.
Smart play by Irvin there, pulling out the glue wall before hopping on into the car. Could have gotten sprayed down if his opponent had a marksman or a sniper on him. So, as usual, smart plays coming through from the players on the side of Rosario Central. Meliodas Misses a big opportunity. Meliodas, what are you even doing? Gomez Rio just takes an easy one. AWM player with the CQC. Spots Whale out in the open as well. But Meliodas, I don't know what the man was thinking there. Capo out in the open as well. Phantom split up on the battlefield. Not the best strategy in my eyes.
Yeah, let's see though if they can get away from whatever the other teams are will be pulling out against Capo as well as Don Chewy. But Capo will be the target right now of Charlie, and CLG is looking at another elimination. So Capo will only have a glue wall as well as a tree that will help him, but not so much because we will need to deal with 4 players. But Don Chewy is the one who shot him from afar, but it might have been stolen, but no, still maintains to Don Chewy. So CLG being denied of 1 elimination might be on their toes to take down Don Chewy.
Absolutely, and Abandonados, 3 eliminations in hand, looking for the top. At the moment, they're literally at the bottom. 18 out of 18. Abandonados, if they want to scratch and claw their way out of this, needs a good shot. Laligaru delivers! And what an instant performance here. Has the Raphael, has the Maro. If you hit the shot with the sniper from a range like that, that's what happens. Instant expiry. And it's not just that. The players of Abandonados going on in straight for the hunt. Can they find more for themselves? MP5 level 3 in hand. But unfortunately, he can't get through those 2 walls. Even his own 2 walls.
Sorry, Abandonados. I mean, you're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing great. Could have taken RNKTZ a little bit sooner, but small mistakes, big setbacks. So let's see Abandonados right now with a little bit of boost, but again, that takedown, the knockdown could have been their advantage to eliminate RNKTZ as they are busy, or RNKTZ was busy with, if I'm not mistaken, Tonyo in a bit. So RNKTZ right now is stuck in between 2 teams, and Laligaru on a good flank to go for information as well as shots against RNKTZ.
Yeah, Laligaru just couldn't nail the shots this time round, but props to RNKTZ as well. Very quick on their feet as they use the compound for cover, getting away from Abandonados, cutting the line of sight that Laligaru had up against them. But Phantom will sacrifice themselves to Abandonados. Not too sure exactly what the Phantom player was thinking. CLG, on the other hand, getting stuck in the hands of Don Chui here. You've got Riot T down on the ground alongside Gomez Rio, and Laligaru will deliver once again as anticipated. Phantom out in 10th, and Laligaru picks up the 5th elimination for himself.
Yeah, let's see though. I mean, Don Chui could have been safe already, but because of CLG as well as a TF Esports on the other side, they are going down, and Vale will be seeing, or Team Fighters rather, Vale will be seeing the end of it. Only 1 player left for Don Chui. Insano might not be that insane, or might be that insane to go in between both teams, but CLG Charlie is not taking advantage of any of that situation. Waiting for the next phase of circle, and CLG will be dead smack in the center of it.
Yeah, at this point, Abandonados, they need one of those jump pads because Rosario Central literally trying to keep them under control. But Laligaru shutting down Kane from afar. I mean, this guy is just on another level with the snipes this time round. One Rai, beautifully done as he just circles around, shutting down the players of Tonio one after the other. Trangia helping him out as well. Armor finds Nino from across the battlefield as Ricario Central still gatekeeps the players of Abandonados, trying to eliminate them.
Yeah, I mean, RKTZ, this is one of the team, or Tonyo was one of the team that got away earlier, but let's see on the other side, Laligaru into the mix. And Kane right now will try to go for the finisher, but let's see if they'll be able to maintain their spot in this circle because they need to move fast. Abandonados is not looking good right now. Gate kept by Rosario Central and now by RNKTZ. So Laligaru in a huge trouble despite of all the elimination that he has done.
There's just no vending machines here. Man has got enough coins to buy back the whole squad. 6 eliminations courtesy of Laligaru here for Abandonados. And unfortunately for him, his run may just end outside the circle. There's just no way he can find his way in here, or can he? Because at this point of time, it looks like just about anyone can turn around and shoot him before he reaches the circle.
Yeah, definitely anyone, especially if they seen them on the horizon. But CLG will be taken down by Rosario Central. They were the first in the circle of in the center of circle, and Rosario Central takes it to their side. Next up on Rosario Central's hit list would be On Style, but the battle of TF Esports and Team Fighters will not be happening just yet because they're taking different levels, different floors. But Laligaru managed to survive, sneaks himself into next phase of the circle.
Uh-oh, RNKTC looking to finish Laligaru off. And Trung here does that so well with the M590. Palmer, Trogon, finding on Pana, On Style now. Not a lot of style up against the players of Ricario Central. RNKTZ looking for a little bit of this action as well, but they're looking to not make a big mistake here on this rotation. From here from afar. And those are just trying to shut him down. But unfortunately, the sprays of bullets is just not going to be putting a pause on the rotation of RNKTZ just yet. Using the terrain to their advantage, avoiding the shots out of TF Esports, but that leads them directly to Rosario Central.
Yeah, let's see though if this is something that they can avert at this point. They have stalled for a long time. TF Esports against T Fighters because of that second floor. Chicky is the only one that has been knocked down, but from the other side, from the outside, it's Mendoza who managed to go in for a knockdown. TF Esports looking quite well in this battle, and Rosario Central will be eliminated. We are down to two teams, TF Esports and RNKTZ, and it is a 3v4. Make that 2v4 situation, and TF Esports, a good chance to go for the elimination, but with that God nade, it will be turned around.
To RNKTZ, 18 eliminations, holy mama, but only 2 more survivors left in here. And Mendoza could just not keep up with rank here, going in for the MVP title once again. 9 eliminations in hand. Can he make it 10? Ooh. Yes, he can. As RNKTZ hits the third booyah of the day. One more to complete their quad run.
An awesome start. And given the fact that they have been resting for the past 2 maps, they are continuing on with the momentum that they have. RNKTZ trying to beat the record of T-Rex, but well, it's a maximum of 4, so let's see if they'll be able to do it right now on this Alpine map. But before we go there, let's take a look at the replay from that Purgatory.
I mean, what a game, Neptune. RNKTZ, they did not have a chill game at all. They started everything off with the battle up against Team Fighters, and we saw the aggression. I mean, time and time again, even Trung here almost made a big mistake there, but still wasn't punished. And engagement after engagement, RNKTZ did not find themselves on the receiving end of a lot of this pressure. They were the ones who were sending teams running, tails between their legs. Even Rosario Central, even though we saw some moments of highlight out of Rosario Central, overall, they just could not keep up with the pressure RNKTZ brought.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just love how RNKTZ just chooses their fight. They know how to get away from engagement. If one of their teammates is knocked down, they just pull away as quickly as that. And that's why they're surviving quite long. And in that final moment, I thought they are waiting. They will be waiting for the shift of the circle. But no, they know that it's all or nothing. So it's either a booyah or we just go in for elimination, because elimination, they already have. Imagine that's 21 after the takedown of the last two players of TF Esports. So that's 19 already on them, and that's good enough for them. The booyah at this point, I would say, as bad as it sounds, is just a bonus.
Exactly. But they got the bonus too. What's impressive is every game RNKTZ has played, they have managed to guarantee the booyah for themselves. And through massive eliminations in these rounds as well. And Trung here hits it, MVP yet again, 10 eliminations this time round. 2 assists, 3,947 on the damage. Very concise gameplay. AWMY in his hands. Definitely hit that airdrop as well. Running in there with the A124. And it's so rare that we actually see Tranghia use that AWM, right? A majority of the time, he's been rocking that plasma gun. A couple of times we saw the Trogon. But the M590 in his hands, just unbelievably strong.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, weapon as a sniper, pet as a bomber, and then a rusher in terms of a build. It's just like Tranghia is all roles into one. But that led him with 10 eliminations against Laligaru, and I love how Abandonados is showing up this time. Well, Laligaru is showing up this time around. Survivability, even the elimination is quite fair. Even damage, as you can see, he has done so much in this fight against RNKTZ.
A very impressive plays by Laligaru for sure. But of course, the head-to-head between RNKTZ and Ricario Central, 21 versus 12 eliminations, a 3,000 damage difference. Obviously, Ricario Central kind of hitting those revives a little bit more than RNKTZ. And in that head-to-head fight that they had as well, it was RNKTZ that sent Ricario Central running away. One final survivor. They could have ended their run then itself. But that, of course, just proves that Ricario Central is a team that knows how to play the game of survival. They still managed to go pretty far into that game after recovering. But it was this team from start to end, non-stop pressure. The 1/3 of the eliminations wrapped up here by RNKTZ.
Yeah, and the reason why there's not so much of elimination is because it's top heavy, I would say. From this group B and C, it's top heavy. Most of those who are on the top dogs out as a title are the ones getting a lot of elimination. But with this point, with this return into the groupings, RNKTZ is very close to get that #1 spot. If it wasn't for that awesome job that CDG has brought in, they could have taken it already. But 33 points in addition to where they were in the 5th spot. This is a second placer, I would say, after this map.
Rosario Central is just on the next level when it comes to the consistency. But if you want to say that about them, what can we say about RNKTZ, Ben? 33 points up at the top. But of course, our conversation is also about the teams down here at the bottom. We wanted to see more from Don Chui, Phantom, Motion Gang. Unfortunately, nothing much out of them this time around. Abandonados, though, even though they missed their first game, with just 2 games in here, they have managed to climb close enough to the top 12 for sure. And let's take a look at the overall leaderboard, and there they are. 13th spot, just 1 point behind X-World. And like we mentioned earlier, Dark Hunters, they have not done enough, and therefore Abandonados are not too far away from replacing them in the top 12.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, X-World is also not surviving that much. So if Abandonados can repeat or probably exceed what they've done in that game #5, then they will be stepping in on that 12th spot. But again, Motion Gang surprisingly pushed in the 18th spot. Team Phantom still maintains their 17th spot place, and it's not looking good. Even Real G, there's a lot of potential for Real G, but it seems like they're not on a good game at this point.
Absolutely. And of course, this is where you start to get nervous. This is where if you cannot perform on Alpine, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, thankfully, we do see Don Chui as one of the capable Alpine squads. They are one of the teams that definitely needs a lot of points here. But when you look at, MTG, the last time they played Alpine, 14 points was what they could score. If they can repeat that, great. If they can't, Motion Gang, I'm actually a little surprised to see where they are on the overall leaderboard. I mean, maybe today's just not their day, not a good day for them at all.
Yeah, I mean, with all the movement in the leaderboard, probably they're getting motion sickness. They are being left behind. So let's see if they can go in some sort of a accelerated move in this last map. But again, it's not just ending after this day. We still have tomorrow to deal with. But what better work can be done better do it today. This is the last game for Group B and C, and the last chance for them to stack up on all the points before we head in to the final day of the knockout stage, which is tomorrow.
An opportunity for RNKTZ to show everyone, including the current holders of the Quadra that they can do it as well. But of course, theirs is a little bit more impressive because this is the creme de la creme of squads. And look at this flight path, about to torture all of us with some chaos out there. A couple of hot drops guaranteed.
Yeah, 2 in a row. 2 in a row. That's what I live for. This cute flight path. I'm happy. I'm smiling ear to ear right now because of the early engagement that is being brought in by this flight path. Rosario Central on the Snowfall, dealing with a CLG. And then on the railroad, we have TF Esports as well as On Style and X World. So it's not looking good for X World. A good chance for Abandonados to get that spot in the 12th.
Yeah, absolutely, and X-World already down by 2 players. The Cruz, can he make it up against Cheeky here? Swerve!
Ooh, no.
Could not swerve out of the way. And Mario has got the right gun with the Mac 10. Question is, can he get away? On Style, in shooting distance here, if they've got the marksman. And of course, TF Esports not going to stand by here to say hello to them. So maybe X-World can find some sort of an escape to bring that revival back in here.
Yeah, let's see though. Let's see if they can bring the revival. But on the other side, we have Phantom going against Antonio. And let's see if that's something that they can win. But for Rosario Central against CLG. CLG not doing quite well in terms of performance compared to CDG, but Into has been taken down because of SKS coming from Goes. Rio and Palmer will be the next target. The rest of the teams will need to go in for the push, and they're taking advantage of the position of Rosario Central. But another team has been eliminated. The first team that has been eliminated would be Team Fanon being ghosted at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. One final survivor trying his very best to get out of this sticky situation, even abandoning the play on the vending machine. Again, it's Irvin as the final survivor of Rosario Central. And it looks like he's going to be able to survive a few extra seconds. We'll catch up with him in a little bit. Let's see if our team fighters have got what it takes to knock out Team RNKTZ, who's looking for the Quadra.
Well, 2-9 will not be saying anything that much, but Rain will be going down for a cord coming from Gaju. Gaju right now will be stuck in a corner against 3 players and has no choice but to be taken down. Now, this is what I love about RKTZ. They stick together. They don't spread out that much, especially if one of their players has been eliminated or knocked down. So, good chance they can take against TF Esports, but there goes Itzy. Being sure if it's aggressive or just going into a good position for the revive of their teammate.
Absolutely, man. Itzy, definitely not an itsy bitsy spider as he tries to crawl his way towards that vending machine. But team fighters will live to fight another day. Vanshu and Blaze splitting up in 2 different ways here just to play a little bit of extra survivability. Looking for those coins, looking for the vending machine. Blaze definitely needs to find the coin machines before finding the vending machine because the man is beyond broke. Nothing in his pocket.
Beyond broke and broken after 2 of their teammates being eliminated. But RKTZ, none of that from their side. One might need me to be picked up, but Itzy says FGL is enough to take down a freestyle at this point, and Lopez, as well as the rest of the teams, will need to get away. UAV has been used just to make sure that Reapermouth is clear for the taking, but they might not still be looking into RKTZ from behind them. But speaking of behind, RC Rosario Central will be left behind after being eliminated early.
I mean, wow, in terms of what they have been able to do out of Group C, but unfortunate because Rosario Central doesn't manage to find the dominance out here. This is the lobby of death for them. It could do so much better up against Group A, but up against Group C, it just isn't something that they could cut out. But MTG, Motion Gang, one of the teams who are suffering here at the lower 6 teams, and in fact, they're actually the 18th spot, unbelievably. So hopefully, Motion Gang finds something solid in here. And it's not like they need a lot of points, Neptune. As long as they can get to the final circle with at least 10 eliminations, they should be able to jump from the 18th spot into the top 12.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one thing, especially with the Team Phantom already out. So that 17th spot is easy taking if they survive a little bit longer, if they make a few more points. Because on the bottom 6, it's almost, I would say, almost tied between all of those 6 teams. So it's easy jump if they get a decent amount of points. But for TF Esports right now, currently in the 10th, 26, only 1 point behind 5 stars. And I guess with what they have right now in terms of elimination, they can take that number 9 already, because 5 stars cannot say anything about it. They have to wait until tomorrow to make it work.
Absolutely. 5 stars is walking away with a 3-star performance today. But mid-tier table ranking is not a bad thing in the grand scheme of things. We only need to focus on the bottom 6 because those are the guys who are going to be eliminated. And Abandonados walking back in here. XM8 taking out Tonio. That's a good engagement for them because Team Tonio is one that Abandonados should be able to use as a good stepping stone to jump into the top 12. Abandonados, remember the last time we looked at them, they were in the 13th spot and they only needed a couple of points to jump in to the top 12, and they are off to a great start. But TF Esports, on the other hand, up against OnStyle, is overwhelmed by the number of players OnStyle threw into that fight.
I mean, despite of OnStyle not showing up that much, not even getting so much of elimination, I love how they're going in for safe rotation. Safe in a way that they're trying to avoid as much engagement as possible, but also choosing a fight that they know that they can win. So let's see if this continues on. But for Abandonados, Lanigaru got beaten with an AK, and he will need to be picked up. Only a few HP remaining, and Brian, as quickly as that, recovers. And let's see if Asta can make that shot again.
Yeah, all thanks to the Thiva instantaneous pickup coming on through by Brian. Laligaru looking for revenge, and he finds the revenge. Zenitsu eats the FGL. Can he find another FGL shot in here? Zenitsu picked right back up. Roberto on this shot, fighting Laligaru with the flank. And Motion Gang holding their own here up against the squad that's trying to cook them. Abandonados up against Motion Gang. A 50-50 fight between the two.
Yeah, let's see though. I mean, Motion Gang, good ideation, taking the high ground, but it's not supposed to be all squad in this tower. At least we have a few more on the lower ground so that just in case a knockdown happens, a conversion will be done. But Lanigaru still going in, and what I'm seeing right now, yes, a pickup is being done by a Motion Gang, but the loss of resources would be their downfall at this point.
6 eliminations for TF Esports. What a shock at the top. Question is, can they keep this up? Abandonado still alive and kicking in here as well. Laligaru. Dangerous M82B. Those glue walls mean nothing at this point of time. But the pickup still comes on through. Asta back on his feet. Zenitsu. Everybody's running away. Not from the whole squad of Abandonados. They're literally running away from Laligaru.
Only Laligaru is bringing a lot of those knockdown. But on the other side, there's no running away against RNKTZ because they're taking the lead against a team of fighters in getting into the blue. And this is not something that you need to do so much, especially from second to third phase of the circle, and as well as your position on next phase. So you need to move fast. M249 right now just to go in and put some pressure against ITZY, but it did only ITZY damage at this point.
Yeah, great control of that M249 fire rate as he doesn't go in for an all-out spray. Just tap in his screen to make sure he gets those shots in and got you from the window. Beautiful shot with the M590 Trunkia back onto the ground once again. Deep Fighters taking the battle straight to RNKTZ. Silent, the final player left in here. Question is, can he turn tails and run away? Answer is no. Vanshu meets him halfway. 34 teams, and it looks like it's all... Oh, no, not yet. Silent holding on to his game here. Mag 7 in hand, has the rate of fire. But now to top his health back up, Skylar on the play. And down he goes, RNKTZ. They do not get their Quadra Booyah.
Denied of the Quadra, and it is from Team Fighters. And, well, mid team on the leaderboard. This is a good record, I would say, for Team Fighters, especially when they watch the VODs, knowing which team they have eliminated. But on style right now, similar to what I mentioned earlier, the rotation is prime, survivability overall, and even if they lose some engagement, they know how they can recover, but they need to move fast, because other than they need to deal with Don Chui at this point, they will be meeting Abandonados on their approach, not only on the next phase of the circle, but also in the previous one. So a lot of gatekeeping might be happening right now.
Team Fighters are the best squad on this map for sure. They are the Alpine dominators. They don't have a Booyah here, but they have massive numbers of eliminations. 12 the last time they played on Alpine. So they're keeping up with that sort of branding for themselves, right, as the Alpine dominators. But the question is, can they go all the way into that final circle and secure a Booyah for themselves? You know, fun fact here. None of these teams playing in this current grouping have got a single Booyah on Alpine to their name. So it's going to be the first for anyone out there who wins it.
Well, again, at least if they manage to get as much elimination as possible, that's already a plus, and the Booyah would be a bonus. But Abandonados, I love the gameplay this time around, but the takedown on on-style is just taking so much time, and the blue is eating them alive. So they can either turn tails and move into next phase of the circle and then deal with on-style in a bit, or they can just finish right here, but do it a little bit quicker. Otherwise, this is what happened. Similar to what we've seen on Nino.
Oh, Larigaru down on the ground and eliminated instantaneously. Rax back to back here, but Brian holding it for the squad. XM8 in hand. Can he get yet another one for himself? Cannot pick up his team member in a 2v1 now. Has got the Oscar, breaks down those glue walls, and single-handedly trying to deal with the squad. And will do it phenomenally well. On style has no style up against Brian.
Brian right now not abandoning the ship and managed to go in for the slay. Good clutch indeed, but looking at the distance onto the next phase of the circle, Brian is in deep trouble. And Don Chui right now meeting up with Tonyo in a bit, but will need or might need with Vanshu later on. But El Hue put right here in trouble, will be taken out, and Tonyo is left with 2.
Yeah, and Team Fighters, Blaze, Gaju, both eliminated. I'm expecting them to get into the final circle and hit the Booyah. But unfortunately, Abandonados, their final survivor, who just put on a crazy good play, eliminated. Fighters eliminated as well. They're not going to dominate this lobby anymore. It's all out for the taking. Can CLG get the job done? Can MTG find that recovery play as Asta now gets sprayed down to the ground by X-World, who are looking for the top 12, securing as well.
X-World doesn't want to let go of the 12th spot. They are fighting it on in survivability. They went into the very edge of next phase of the circle, just waiting for opportunities of elimination. But CLG right now, Charlie needs to heal a little bit faster, needs to get into next phase of the circle. Otherwise, it will be lost for CLG, especially with MTG Motion Gang with 3 players, or 2 players rather, waiting for Draco's seat. But the pickup will need to be done, but the blue will be taking HP from more players of CLG.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dracosita, final player left in here, spots Zenitsu. MTG cannot lose another player, but Dracosita is super low on his HP. 24 has the Superman, and back in it. Zenitsu, on the other hand, could not patch himself back up. Circle does him in, and now Dracosita with the bigger challenge here to find the circle for himself. Freestyle took those shots up against him. Dracosita returns the favor. 21 HP left on him, and the Superman does not get applied in time. CLG out in 5th.
That's what happened if you tank
the
5th phase of the circle.
Neptune! 4 teams, all in the bottom 6 right now. This is what we call desperation fight from the bottom 6 teams.
And this is what we're asking for from beginning of every game. If this is what you can bring in, if you can go for survivability, then you will not be stuck at the bottom. But Roberto, well, I guess he's having fun. He's on the edge. No one can see him going solo. What else can you do?
Bro, he's got 1 HP and no medkit. What can he do? Nothing. He literally cannot do anything. MTG though, they are looking to secure displacement points. Literally an A124 pop can take him out of the equation, okay? And anybody, any team out there, any player out there that uses that A124, this is strikeable distance. Roberto will say bye-bye. They don't even need to shoot at him.
Oh, Insano, an insane move. We rarely see that prone, that crawl gameplay happening, but I think it is working for Insano right now, but, well, not with the blue. Not with the zone. Santino for the push as soon as he recovers, and there you have it. Roberto is out, but a good response by Insano. Only Lopez remains. Well, it's similar situation for Lopez right now. Only a few HP and no meds to deal with.
Desperation play from the teams in the bottom 6 and Don Chui. Look at this. Very low on the elimination numbers, but they're looking for those placement points. And it looks like that Flam Mirage will not find the connection at all. A wasted use of that active skill card. But perhaps X-World will be able to find the recovery. Like you mentioned, X-World currently sitting on the 12th spot before we started this game. Yet another Flam Mirage thrown towards their way.
Whoop.
This blocks out all of the view, and at the same time, they take Tonium out of the equation.
X-World and Don Chui. Don Chui with a little bit of distance, probably a good chance to go in for the shift of the circle, but a little bit too early though. I would say X-World can have an advantage right here, especially if they go for the flank. So let's see on how X-World can respond to what Don Chui is doing in terms of gatekeeping them.
Don Chui, only 2 points from the eliminations and about to lose the third player off the squad as well. 13 eliminated. And this is going to be the final nail in the coffin. Don Chui with an opportunity. And the Rebel rush straight into the players. X-World will secure the final booyah of the day.
X-World finally showing up in the booyah board, and they are moving away from the 12th spot forever. Cirx, VRV, Z Mario, and the Cruise. Another introduction to our Free Fire multiverse, I would say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, this final battle just shows us the quality of teams that we have here in the FFUSA Championship 2025. Desperation from the teams in the bottom 6, understanding exactly what sort of a risk they are at if they do not make it into the final circle. And not a single big squad made it there, man, because the underdogs just said, nope, this one, we have to take this game for ourselves. And they brought the fire, you know, TF Esports, On Style, MTG up against Abandonados. This fight dragged on for so long, unbelievably long, I have to say.
Definitely, and I thought that it could have been about time the MTG will be taken out because of the resources that they're losing, especially with Lali Garu knocking them out one after the other. But there's another fight that we didn't expect to happen, or that Team Fighters could win, but that was the decision that is made by the final player of RNKTZ. Instead of pulling away, he just rushed in, tried to go for the clutch, but he loses out.
Absolutely, man. And of course, you know, without Laligaru in there, those long-range engagements just wasn't very viable for Abandonados. But we saw the play of the century from Brian. Unfortunately, though, Brian could not tank the damage from the blue, couldn't get in on time. He got eliminated. And of course, towards the very end, X-World, it was all about the positioning on the battlefield. Even though they lost forever for a few seconds there, you see exactly why X-World got that booyah, right? Because instantaneous rotation by the squad gets the pickup and plays the numbers advantage up against the final few. And Don Chui, although they tried really hard, they just couldn't get it done this time.
Yeah, and for the MVP right now, it's from TF Esports. It's Cheeky. From the first day that we see him, he is a savior of the squad. Like the first team that almost being eliminated, and then they grab a booyah afterwards. So this is what Cheeky has to offer: 5 elimination, 2806 on the damage, 1 assist, and 4 on the headshot. As a sniper build, he's using a Thompson. So again, we've seen this so much, how they adapt with a weaponry despite of the role that they have.
Not the best idea, but of course, desperation. If I can't find an AWM, I can't find the M82B, I'm going to whip out that Thompson, man. But of course, the active-passive skill built perfectly for a sniper. He did manage to pull away some decent number of eliminations there. So, you know, Cheeky up against Brian, 5-5. Both of them very equal when it comes to the eliminations. The damage not too far away from each other as well. Neither one could find those revivals out there for the team members, but both TF Esports as well as Abandonados, I think this was a really, really good game for them. Question is, did Abandonados manage to do enough to jump into the top 12? That's my bigger question. And obviously, TF Esports, we saw guaranteed they would have done more than enough for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as we look at the head-to-head of X-World and CLG, yes, CLG has a lead in terms of elimination, but Booyah is not on them just yet. So X-World just managed to survive a little bit longer and bring in the fight a little bit longer as well towards the end. Thus, despite of not so much of elimination, they still are on the board, getting away from the 12th spot, probably up on the 8th, so it's still good, and that's how it is for day number 1 of the knockout stage. Even with the rotation, if you can survive grab Booyah, that's a big jump right now. But let's feature CLG as the most eliminator of this squads, and we have a total elimination of 65, a little bit lower compared to what we've seen in Solara, but so far a lot of great engagement indeed.
Yeah, for sure. Total rescues at 30 there. So that's why we didn't see too many of those eliminations. The teams were very quick to the aid of their team members. And taking a look at the overall points here on the leaderboard, you can see it spread out very well towards the top half of the overall leaderboard. Phantom, though, not really managing to pull away much from this game. Rosario Central, RNKTZ, dropping like flies early on, giving way for the teams that desperately needed the points on the bottom side of the leaderboard to climb up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is not intentional because we've seen how they played. It's just that, as you keep mentioning, desperation from the teams in the bottom half. And I love how X-World move up to the 8. Now, Abandonados got that 12th spot. And, like, 5 stars. They're not 3 stars anymore. This is a 1-star performance because they have been pushed out of the top 12.
I mean, what's crazy is 5 stars pushed down. Yes, Abandonados did this in 3 games, all right? They missed the first one, 3 games. They jump back in here, and they just managed to slice it in the 12th spot. Tonio as well, managing to jump up into the top 12. Very, very impressive stuff out of these boys. MTG scratching and clawing their way out from the bottom of the leaderboard. Now not too far away from the 12th spot, but of course it's going to be a very, very heated battle between them and the rest of the squads tomorrow, as we have got 4 more games for them on standby. But this is the overall points from our knockout stage here, Neptune.
Yeah.
I mean, we wanted to see dominance from the big teams. We saw that. We wanted to see the performance from the underdogs. We wanted to see the fight in them. We saw that as well. And what better time to see it except on the final game of the day on Alpine? I mean, we got everything we wanted to see today.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing to point out as well, for CLG, in terms of top 3 performance, 0. I would say. But they still managed to get in on the 6th spot. So this is what they need to do. For the teams who have been trying to work out, especially in this first day of knockout stage, in survivability, then they can do that, just stack up the points. And then by tomorrow, do a little bit of homework, double on the homework, and then you can go and manage the full rotation and get as much elimination as possible to be in the same level as CLG. But before or after all those talk, it is down to this another set of code that we are giving out for the survivors out there watching. So let's bring it on in 3, 2, 1.
Head on in there. First 100 players get to redeem this, so make sure it's not just a screenshot, but you are jumping onto the website and hitting these codes in so that you can get the item for yourself. I mean, amazing stuff that we have seen all throughout the day here, Neptune. But I have to say, a cut above is the performance for the teams who desperately needed it. And I love the fact that you pointed out CLG, because they're the only team that did not make it into that final circle. Every other team in the top 12 made it to the final circle at least one time. They were in the top 3 at least one time. CLG did this purely with hustle as well as those eliminations. So that's very, very impressive from them. But this is also a huge warning sign, because they are one of the weaker teams when it comes to the placement points in the top 12. And tomorrow, we might be able to see a little bit of a difference. But if they don't fix this quick enough, becoming champions is going to be nearly impossible, because we've got champion rush condition activated in this competition. So you must hit that booyah if you want to call yourself champion by the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot to talk about as well on the champion rush. You can catch up on how that is on like in a free fire videos, but on the grand finals, we're going to go in depth on how that champion rush condition works. But again, we have ended our day number 1 for knockout stage, and we're seeing potential knockouts already. So let's see if they can come back by tomorrow, because that will be the last chance for them to get into the top 12, AJ.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, survivors of all ages, we are at the end of the broadcast. So thank you on behalf of us on the casting desk as well as broadcast. We wish you guys a good day. Tomorrow, same time, same place. Make sure we see all of you here. Goodbye.